Colin sent it to me. And I don't know how Colin found it, but he's like, dude, did you see these dudes like podcasted about us for like 10 hours? And I was like, what are you talking about? And he sent it to me. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Welcome to Church Jams Now, the podcast where three former youth group kids and current music nerds deep dive into Christian music from the 90s and 2000s. I, of course, am your co-host, Kylan Savage. With me, as always, for now, Mr. TJ Smith.
Hey, man, I just want to say, son, I loved you at your most mangled of facts.
Oh, thank you.
We'll see if that continues on in this episode, but
we also
I loved you.
Through hell or high water, we have beautiful producer Josh.
Yep, and this is it. This is it. The episode where we get corrected on the things, and we have to be accountable for the things we said on this show.
That's very right. True, because we have
taken to task.
Not one, not three, but two special guests on this episode.
That's math.
That is math. This is math. This is math. We have Aaron Lunsford and Colin Kimble from the band As Cities Burn. How are you guys doing this night? What? How does podcasting work?
Nice one.
Hey, what's up? How you guys doing?
Oh, hi.
Couldn't be better. Tell you
good.
what.
Good.
So happy to hear a bunch of, what do you even call those? They're not puns. Just
I don't
taking
know. I don't know.
It's become a thing.
It's become part of the show at this point.
Song bits? I don't know. Music bits? I don't know. We're still workshopping a name for it, I guess.
You could technically maybe classify them as jokes, but
that's being generous.
That is being very generous.
If you have to technically classify something as a joke, it might not be a joke.
No, for sure.
It might not be funny.
For sure.
That's the first joke of the episode right there. Thanks, Aaron.
And, we've done over 100 of these at this point, so we're kind of stuck with it.
It's true.
Hey, for real, thank you guys so much for being on our show. How you guys doing?
Good. It's good to talk to you guys. It's fun to kind of interact face-to-face via Zoom after hearing your detailed review of some of the art we put together, if you want to call it art.
The saga.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so yeah, I want to give
no big deal.
A little bit of context. So it was, Josh, was it last year? Was it the beginning of 2023? Right, that we did
that's how we started off the year.
Our ACB deep dive, and we did
our first and only miniseries so far.
Yes,
I guess we did June Zeta. That's like
that is
counts.
True.
Nice.
Never heard of them.
We were so excited about it, and we'd been planning it for a long time, and we were at a weird point in our podcast because I feel like we when we initially put it out, it felt like it was kind of like crickets, right? Like we didn't get a lot of feedback from it, and then like slowly over time, it's something that people have come back to,
latched on to,
and have started to listen to, including you guys, which is weird
Oddly
as hell. And that's something that we really want to get into on this episode, because I feel really uncomfortable because I don't remember a single thing I said on any of those episodes.
Yep.
I'll second that.
Sure.
And it's like 12 hours of content or something. It's
so
like
much.
absurd.
Yep.
It's and that's
Your
borderline
excuses are as
down.
bad as your puns. Yeah.
No, Colin sent it to me. And I don't know how Colin found it, but he's like, dude, did you see these dudes like podcasted about us for like 10 hours? And I was like, what are you talking about? And he sent it to me. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I was just like,
I don't know.
I felt obligated. I mean, look, my ego couldn't resist the idea of just somebody talking about me for that long. But also I was just like, I felt obligated. I was like, well, I got to listen. Like, I did that band for 20 years almost, and then some people talked about it for 10 hours. Like, I guess I got to see what this is all about, because that's probably it for us. Like, we're not going to, the Beatles got Beatles anthology and then like 100 other documentaries even since then, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So
and you guys get a shitty podcast.
Yeah, we get like a podcast that also reviews.
TBD.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Us, the serious artists, also get a podcast that reviews like DC talk records. So like, we're just an awesome company. Workly, as far as our art goes. But no, I was just, I gotta listen. And then, I mean, we can talk about the experience of listening, but I couldn't resist. So
this was a long, we were playing the long game. That was our plan all along.
For sure.
Yep.
For sure.
That's right. We can quit now.
Yeah.
There you go.
This is it.
Yeah. This is it. Oh my God.
Oh God.
Okay. How many times?
It's too easy not to use.
I know. It really is.
Colin, how did you stumble upon it?
Yeah. Please.
Yeah. So my brother, who lives in Utah, my older brother, is just an avid podcast listener and searcher. Like, he just thinks things in the world are interesting, and he always just thought our band was cool. And stumbled upon you guys, and he's like, dude, have you ever heard this? He's like, these guys are going into your records like track by track. And he's like, and he kind of explained it like I explained to you. And I was like, no, but I got to listen to it. He sent it to me, and the rest is history. Like, I listened to the first one, and I told my wife, I'm like, you will not believe what is happening somewhere in the world right now. There are people who are listening to these records and talking about them. And I actually thought it was super. I thought it was refreshing, like really interesting to hear your take. I appreciate the dive in, but it was insanely nostalgic, like going back through it all with you, and like the memories and like weaving through. So like, very cool. And then there were some things, I think it was Hell or High Water, starting that. And like, you guys were saying some stuff about Aaron. And I was like, did I say something to you, Aaron? Like, you want to be like your ego stroke tonight? Like, listen to this or something like that. Yeah, I don't remember what I was like.
I think I probably said something worse, a little more vulgar than that.
Yeah. Like, you want to get jacked off audibly, something like that.
It was along those lines. Yeah.
Oh man,
I do like us some Lunsford drums. Can't deny it.
I was very grateful. I was actually, the entire 10 hours of it, like, I just got like a lot of really nice things said about me, which is, like, I'm a human. Like, it was nice. It's nice to be recognized. Because everybody talks about Cody, and they talk about how cool Colin was, and like TJ's such a good front man, and not everybody always gets into the drums and realizes.
I get it, Aaron.
So yeah.
I'm a drummer. I understand. I think that's part of why I was like, we gotta shout him out, man. Gas him up.
I appreciate it.
Let the people know.
If you're not like Travis Barker or something, like, nobody really talks about it except for
you're
other
not Questlove.
Yeah. So it's just that was nice. I appreciate it. But you guys nailed it. Nailed that. Yeah, for sure.
I also thought the kindness with depth, right? There was like some fruit behind it. My favorite was like my credits for bass on Hell or High Water, which I didn't play a note of, but I apparently on the CD case, I didn't write a note. I didn't play a note. I played it live, but I was like, oh, hell yeah. I was on that record. Let the world know.
Tip of the hat. You got that shout out, man.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh man. Okay. That. So it's so surreal to me because, like, we started this podcast during the pandemic, and it really came about because, like, all of these conversations that we have on the podcast are basically like text and phone conversations and real life conversations we've just had in real life, like, for the past, 15 years. And we just decided to start recording it. And it's so surreal to have y'all listen to it and like react to it. It's
been really neat to see how we've been able to loop in the artists that we were talking about, and now we get to actually, interact with you and kind of dig in more into the art that we already are thrilled to dive into and talk about, because this gives us a whole new layer of understanding around this stuff that we obviously grew up on and came up like really admiring. And I mean,
Right.
the running joke, I don't know if y'all remember from the miniseries, was like Josh and Kylan were in a band that people were kind of lovingly referring to them as like the best Maylene and the Sons of Disaster cover band from the Dallas area.
Oh no!
And then my band was like the best As Cities Burn cover band from the Dallas area.
Okay.
We were trying to be you guys. It was like with a little showbread thrown in as well. So I mean,
Totally get the showbread
really
piece. Totally get that.
Yeah, they are wild.
I could say a lot about that. Just even what y'all just said. I find it really curious whenever when kids that are like from a scene or something and they like a certain type of band, and then they like try to go be that band. Is that what you're saying? Like you guys, whenever you're doing your bands, you're like, all right, we just want to like sound like Maylene or something like that, or like what
It was like a jumping off point.
Jumping off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like we're all interested in this sound. What can we build from here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. How can we carry the torch forward and like honor what came before?
Yeah, that's so hard. Like in that type of music, because then like you just get compared to like that band that you sound like, and then to break through, you like it's like you almost have to get bigger than them or something.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And I'm trying to think of a good example of that, and it's hard to think of, but I don't know.
Yeah, when y'all were coming up, what were the ones that you were trying to like get out of the shadow of? Do you feel like?
Do you think of like Norma Jean, like Coalesce? Like I know Norma Jean, like was consciously, I think, was like we want to be like Coalesce, and then like everyone knows Norma Jean, and no one knows Coalesce.
I don't know what.
I don't know if there's a further scene.
I don't remember. I always thought we were trying to rip off Further Things Forever. But just like heavier because TJ screamed and like that, like Colin and TJ were like really into like hardcore music at that time. And then me and Cody loved Further Things Forever. I mean, everybody loved Further, but like that's what our first record to me is just a Further Things Forever, like direct rip off, but just like with breakdowns, stuff like that.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, really cool. So before we get any further, I do have to ask both of y'all, because it's become such a thing on our show. How do y'all feel being known as Louisiana's finest jazz band?
Dude, I love that show. I will fucking love that. I love that bit.
I think that might be the most incorrect statement in all of music, but I love every second of it.
But welcome to Church Names Now.
Yeah.
As long as you don't think about that New Orleans is in Louisiana, you're like, yeah, but that might be true. I don't know.
Yeah.
Cody used a lot of like jazz oriented chords, I think, and like progressions and stuff. And then I would like, to me, it was always like a joke to like do jazzy drums, like on a fucking Daughter or whatever that song is on Hell or High Water with the brushes. Like I thought that was funny to like do that. I was like, this is like
it worked.
Ridiculous, right? But we would like in sound checks, we would like fake do jazz. Like I'd be like playing jazz, you know, just do like bullshit. Like, and nobody can actually play jazz. And Cody would do like a weird chord or something. But I love that whole bit because it is weird. Like I don't even think we realized Cody was like throwing in jazz chords or something like that, right, Colin? Like
bring in some music theory chops to the table.
Yeah, I mean we were like 20 years old or whatever. We didn't fucking know like what jazz was.
No. What 20-year-old knows what jazz is if you're not like
in La La Land?
Right.
Yeah. Cody, it's funny because when he would write, I don't even think Cody, it's just like, I'm going to say something weird, in his DNA a little bit, just like making everything complex. Because he'd like write something cool and then he'd be like, it needs to be a little harder. Like, and so like, I got to spread this finger here and do this. And then like, he'd be showing me songs and I'd be like, how the hell am I supposed to play that live? Like, what are you doing here? But I think it was always him just kind of pushing the envelope musically to like the way he wanted it to sound, which naturally jazz is all, you know, like complex and artsy. And I think Cody's mind just kind of went there.
It also goes back to Further Things
Forever. Maybe he's full of
like,
shit.
No, Further Things Forever. Like they were, one of them was like a jazz, actually properly trained jazz guitarist. And so if you listen to Further Truth Forever songs, like you'll hear a little bit of that in some of their chord progressions and riffs and stuff. And so because I think we were just ripping off them, like some of that starts to sneak in, like, oh, that's a cool sounding chord. I might have gotten even way too serious. Like I probably took the bit here like too far to actually think we were jazz. And now I'm like the delusional, like, yeah, we had this joke about Acid Beats Bird being like a jazz band, and Aaron really thinks they are a jazz band. So.
I don't know. I mean, as far as our show is concerned, you guys are Louisiana's finest jazz band.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was really fun to watch the, like, I don't know, as we were going through our miniseries, like, watch the progression of just songwriting and song structure and arrangement. Like, you kind of morphed into more and more jazzy, like, as time went on, you know? So it was kind of fun for me, at least. And then I guess Scream Through the Walls kind of like totally broke the whole thing open, which is cool. But
come on, you guys didn't like that record that much. Let's be honest.
What? Yes, we did.
Come on.
It grew.
Yes, we did.
Grew on me.
You guys were
so good.
I actually loved listening to that episode because like the first 3 episodes were just like just a lot of like dick sucking.
We love this.
And and then the third episode, it's just like I don't know. I think they might be missing the mark here, and I'm like, oh, this is sobering to hear actually, because the criticism's not like I don't know. You just don't really. You never ask people like, "Hey, what'd you think of our new record or whatever?" And then we have our own thoughts on it. Like you guys shit on Maybe really hard that track on Scream Through the Walls.
Did we?
Yeah, you said it was like
the worship song.
You said it was
the worship.
Oh,
you called it a praise and worship song, and that just like
that's right.
That
I did.
blindsided me because Maybe is one of my favorite songs we've ever written, and I think it's one of the best songs we've ever written.
Aaron,
and
tell me everything. Tell me why I'm wrong.
No, you're not wrong.
Seriously, but genuinely, like I want to hear from you. Why do you love that song?
I don't really care about lyrics that much, and I barely even know any more lyrics. But I think the lyrics were pretty like intense. Kind of the whole concept of like choosing not to be like not choosing to be alive. Like you just end up being alive and like kind of staying, deciding like, yeah, I guess I'll just keep going. But I thought that was pretty interesting, but I don't know. Like, I thought the drums were fucking sick for one, but two.
Yeah, who played that?
Yeah. No, Colin, what did you think of Maybe? Like, I just thought it was like a good song structure, like a good melody, like some good like classic build-ups. I don't know.
What record is that?
See, there we go. Some Scream Through the Walls.
So it's funny because you guys brought up. Because I never listen. I mean, I gave the record like a listen because I wasn't in the band, and I gave it another listen when you guys brought it up. But like, I just thought that whole record was so good. But I have the luxury of listening it from the outside, and I just understand the band, and so I thought it was. But I don't have individual thoughts on Maybe.
All right, never mind.
I think the drums.
I'm just out here on an island thinking that song's good.
No, honestly, Aaron, you're
I can see you guys writing. I know the writing. I know the writing process with the band, so anytime I see or hear anything, I know what the room is like. I know the tension. I know what everyone's trying to accomplish. I can see the eye rolls and like recording it, the frustration. And so like when I listen to like that record, I'm like, I wonder what the dynamic was like because I kind of Well, you had Joel, like the peacekeeper.
No, Joel wasn't writing with it. It was Keach writing with us. So
okay.
Yeah, Keach. Keach was awesome.
Okay.
Fun fact, we asked him if he would come on our show to cover that record, and he was like, "No, I just play bass. It wasn't my record. I don't want to be on it." But now, since we've covered his band, he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll be on your show."
Well, he probably felt like he didn't have the he's not granted the authority to talk about that record
to speak to it.
No,
but like he was there, like he was there like the whole time.
Yeah.
So
I know, which is why we reached out to him.
Yeah, exactly. And to your point, Aaron, like I would love to hear y'all's perspective on the dynamic that you were alluding to, Colin, like in the room of writing all of these albums, like maybe just some snippets since, we're not trying to start another mini series here, but for the
Wait,
purpose of this episode.
Are we though?
I mean, I blocked
Maybe.
off 5 hours. Like,
All right, let's go. Let's
I
go.
took tomorrow off.
Perfect.
All right.
But I would love to hear about that. Like,
I think you'll have
what
two
things
very
were like.
different you'll have two different perspectives between me and Aaron.
Perfect.
If you want to go
Sounds like a
record
great
by record,
podcast.
I mean, we can. That's what you guys do. Aaron was on all the records. I only was on 2, and they were very different. It's also a very broad question, TJ. Very broad. Like,
Yeah,
what was it like to
I'm good
write
at those.
5 records? What was that decade of your life like?
Yeah, what was
Yeah.
Let me
10
start
years of
here.
life like,
so I met
guys?
Aaron.
Explain it. We only have 20 minutes. Okay, so like
So me and Colin met.
Pretty
We got a
good.
rash at some point together. Like we both had the same rash, which is suspect when you think about.
That's a bonding
About
moment.
Yeah.
right?
No,
Our
I don't know.
wieners are the exact same length. I don't know. Yeah.
I'd actually be interested in. I don't really know Colin's perspective on the writing room, or like how you look back on it. Whenever you're talking about, like, what kind of that dynamic is with the what'd you say, eye rolling and
Tension.
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 Very little was done with that Cities Burn without some tension. It's probably made the band sharp at the end. So here I'll explain. So let's take it back to zero. I won't guide the podcast, but I think TJ, your question opens like what is the design of the band?
Right.
And I'm gonna go history for like 2 seconds.
Great.
So Cody and I were in a ska band together in high school, and it was basically just I would ask my friends go watch, and we would perform, and I sang just because I was fun. And Cody was playing bass, and then we had some friends, and we'd go play these giant Baptist church shows. And eventually that faded out when we got into college. TJ moved in with us, and TJ had zero musical skill or I guess history at the point. But he was my best friend, and we were like, man, we should do a punk rock band. And so they taught me how to play guitar, and we were a 4-piece punk rock band, pop punk band. And then a guy quit, and we realized, like, man, it'd be cool to be in a band with TJ. And we lived with this drummer who had been in the ska band, Brian Dixon, shout out. And so we started As Cities Burn because we wanted TJ to sing. I was playing guitar. We had met a guy who was in another very, very good band. Pascal was on the first record that was local. And so they taught me how to play guitar. Pascal was on bass. Cody was starting to play lead guitar, and the band started to pick up locally. We were kind of putting on our own shows, and we were starting to play bars, and it picked up because our live show was a little bit, it was very energetic. And then eventually our drummer was like, I don't feel led, like this is going to be in my future. And so we found Aaron through a friend, and Aaron joined the band. So that's the makeup of the band when kind of we were launched off, played locally, were able to make some money, started touring in a small circle, and that just expanded through the South. And then we went kind of full US. My role in the band was always like the hype guy. I am not a true artist. Like, I never wrote anything. Aaron and I started working on this together, but I was like, I booked shows. I was the face of the band. I dealt with a label a lot with Aaron.
Okay.
And I was kind of like the business guy. I tell people, like, I wasn't a musician. I was the business guy. And for a period of time there, Aaron, I was the guy that could kind of ease the tension, which I think eventually became annoying because I always it'd be tense and I'd just make a joke to everyone chill out. Like, I think everyone would have killed each other eventually if I wasn't in the band early on. And so that was, there I am. Like, I know my role in the band is like, I'm going to be the face. I'm going to deal with publicists and like do kind of like a lot of the business behind the scenes before Aaron kind of took it over more in the future. And I'm just going to hold on for dear life and try to learn what Cody writes. And so I get a lot of credit for being a good guitarist, but it's funny because I play guitar well, but when you're comparing yourself to a Cody, like, I feel like I'm the shittiest guitarist on the planet, but, I learned a lot of what he would write songs and teach them to me. And so thank God I was good at like methodically memorizing and like learning, and I could play it well enough to record it. So that's kind of my dynamic. Aaron's true artist, like, can think through methodically how to write a song, what is tasteful, what is not. If we would have done Son, I Loved You how I wanted it, we would have had true breakdowns, and we would have tried to be Norma Jean or Under Oath, and I would have been tried to just be big as shit. Like, I was chasing like the That's the yin and yang, hopefully, of any good band is like, you got the dude who like wants the commercial sound to go big, and then you have Cody who's like, nah, dude, I'm not writing that breakdown. We're going to have this melodic part. And then him in working with Aaron to like make sure the music was good and full of integrity. And then like that motion kind of kept us all in balance as we move forward. And so when you're right, so Son, I Loved You. I mean, dude, Aaron, that record was a work in progress because there were songs from EPs on there. That was like would you call that a 2 or 3 year writing process? Just because we kept old songs, we would iterate on new ones. Then there was a deadline of, all right, you got to have 5 more songs to do this record. And so the writing process was the most organic it could be. We'd write a song, it would be cool, audiences would like it, we'd iterate on it, make it better, and then that would just be a song we had. And then there was some pressure towards the end to like finish a record. But I remember that being a really cool experience. A lot of optimism in the room, tooth and nail deal, which is what we wanted. And kind of like we were kind of the darling of the label, like with all this upside. Everyone thought post Son, I Love You that we were going to be like the next Under Oath. So I really liked Son, I Loved You, the process, because like we were like, we're doing it. Like we can do this, and bands are liking us and audiences are liking us. The shows are getting bigger. So that's the way I looked at it. My insights on the actual writing process are going to be leaner than Aaron's.
Well, who is your producer on Son, I Loved You? If you can refresh.
Matt Goldman and then Josh Scoggin as well. I think he got credit for it.
Yeah, Scoggin did vocal production basically. He just came in and worked with TJ and Cody to kind of just hammer home some of that stuff and got a production credit. But yeah, nice. Goldman was the main producer. I mean, Scoggin pulled his weight. Like Scoggin,
for sure.
Scoggin's like a pop artist, but like for hardcore music or something at that time.
Yeah, I mean, and hey, if those vocals hadn't been dialed on that album, it wouldn't have been the album that it was, right?
Yeah, 100%. So I think he just had a good we toured with them. We did this Young Bloods tour with them. There was like them and Showbread and He Is Legend and Far Less. And I think he was just like, okay, this band is cool. What they're doing is cool. I think I could help turn this all the way up to where it needs to be for vocals and stuff. And he'd worked with Goldman on a bunch of stuff. So and he was in Atlanta. And I remember the conversation. He's like, "So you guys are recording with Goldman? I live in Atlanta. You cool if I hang out in the studio? I hear some stuff maybe I can help you guys with." And TJ and Cody kind of idolized them at that time and thought yeah, of course, gotta do that. So yeah, I don't even know what the question was from that, but
I don't either. We're just having fun, guys.
We're just having fun. Yeah, it's not an interview, man. We're shooting the shit, just a bunch of musicians, talking music.
Exactly.
I wanted to compliment you guys because the podcast that you did, it would have been a lot harder to listen to if y'all didn't know what the fuck you were talking about. And I was just
agreed.
And yeah, I was just okay, this is talking to other musicians I know, just in a green room about an album that you like. You guys were nailing a ton of shit, and some of the stuff that you're oh, I think this is probably what that is, or that type of thing. You're okay, yeah, they're kind of catching on and understanding what this is. So
hell yeah,
that was cool.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do. I don't know where that fits in with our quote unquote audience, but we kind of don't care because like I said, we're all musicians and these are just the conversations that we have about records anyway.
And there's enough people out there that love that kind of nitty gritty stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
The nerdy stuff. So, but it's cool to hear that, Aaron. We really appreciate that. That's really great feedback from the people who made the thing that we're talking about.
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of people are just
I'm glad y'all aren't coming in here just guns blazing with everything we got wrong. That's very nice.
No. The only reason I when I started messaging you guys on Instagram, it was more just you're in the moment, you're listening, you're no, come on, all right, and then you just want to the idea of that being something that was wrong being out there. And nothing was like egregious, but it was like, okay, these guys think this thing, and I could see how they would think that, but I think maybe they would think it was interesting to actually know.
No,
like,
for sure. No,
that's part of why we put it out there, so that we can get corrected and then learn more and like have a better understanding of what we're talking about.
The thing I didn't realize is how old it was, that it was almost like 2 years old. And so I'm messaging you guys and like now realizing y'all had no idea what I was even talking about. Because like you said all this stuff so long ago that like I'm just like I'm doing Colin, I was doing like one sentence responses.
No, I know. I think we had like on our private chat, I was like, okay, Aaron Lunsford just messaged us.
Yeah.
What the fuck is he talking about?
I have no idea what he's talking about.
I was just like, Cody wrote the lyrics and that's it. You know,
no context.
I think
it's like, what?
I think Aaron's having a fever dream right now, and he's like live tweeting it at us.
Yeah, it was a little bit unhinged, but no, it's fine.
Are you guys aware of the new, in quotes, Amber Lynn record?
Yes,
you are.
Of course
you are.
I'm up to date.
You're aware of at least half of the record. I know for sure.
Right. No, I'm a darling of #CCM Twitter. Of course, I'm up to date on what Amber Lynn is doing.
You're a talking head in the CCM world now. Of course, you know.
Maybe I should just say no. I'll just say no.
Cool.
That feels like an easier way to get into this.
Yeah, it lets me explain it a little bit more.
Yeah, tell me more, Josh.
Well, TJ, since you aren't aware, Amber Lynn has a new quote in record, new record in quotes of that consists of their EPs that they've released the last 2 years, and then 2 new singles with Maddie Mullins. It's called Vega, and you can purchase the CD and or the vinyl from our sponsor, CollideRecords.com.
Sweet.
And I know this for a fact because I've visited their website, but I took it a step further. I used my fingers.
Did you use those fingers, Josh?
I used them fingers, bro.
Oh, buddy.
I used my little digis, and I bought the CD from Collide Records, and it arrived just a couple days ago. And it's a rare but fun joy to buy a CD in 2024.
That's very true.
Yeah, and no better way to buy one than from Collide Records.
That's true.
I love it.
We're big physical media guys, so go buy the CD. Yeah, you could stream it, but why?
Yeah,
buy the CD.
It's better.
And you know what, Josh? Was there anything special that you did when you purchased that CD? You paid full price, right?
No, I didn't, Kylan.
Oh, you didn't? Why not?
Well, I used a promo code.
What?
I use our promo code, Church Jams Now.
Our promo code.
If you use our promo code, Church Jams Now, you can get 20% off any purchase.
20%? Wow.
20%.
So what you're saying is, if someone goes to CollideRecords.com to purchase the new Amber Lynn album on CD, and they go to checkout.
And or vinyl.
Wow.
Whoa.
And type in Church Jams Now. And type in Church Jams Now at checkout. They'll get 20% off?
That is true.
That's incredible. So go do that.
Amazing.
What are you doing listening to us? Go do that.
And I don't regret it. You should do it too.
Amen.
And I'm just here.
Guys, I come bearing great news.
What is it?
I'm happy to report we have a brand new review on iTunes. Is it called iTunes anymore?
Way.
Apple Podcasts, I guess, technically.
Correct.
X. I think they call it X. Oh, wait.
That's the
sorry.
one. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's it.
I don't know.
Yeah. Leave your reviews there too, please.
Wherever it is, what does it say, Josh? I'm on the edge of my seat.
Okay. Well, I want you to guess. Between 1 and 5, guess how many stars it is.
1 and
2.5.
I'm going to go with
I don't think there's any halves.
4.75.
That does round up. Okay. TJ, did you guess 2.5?
Do you have a counter? TJ?
Yeah. 2.5.
2.5. Okay.
2.5. All right. I'm going to say
round those
4.86.
Okay. Those are good. I'm going to round those up to 3 and 5. Kylan, you are correct.
Okay.
TJ, you were so close. You were almost there.
Nice.
So close, TJ.
Oh, thanks, man.
We'll get them next time.
Close.
But we have a new 5-star review from N. Gilliand 005. The title of this review, if I may read this, is
Please.
Love This. with 3 S's.
Ooh, are they a
3
snake?
S's.
I don't know.
Can you
I-
read the rest of the
snake.
review like a snake? Please do a dramatic
Yes.
reading of this review like a snake.
Do not want to even attempt that, but I appreciate the confidence you have in my snake-like abilities.
Of course.
Yes. And Gillian005 writes, This podcast is for such a specific group of people, and it is the perfect, in all caps, one for that group of people. Keep it up with 3 P's as well. Up.
Up.
And I think that really sums up our show, you know? It's a very specific group of people.
For a very
but
specific
for
group of people.
the perfect one for that group of people, that's a pretty high compliment.
Yeah,
So
I
thank
love
you.
that.
Yeah.
And Gillian005.
Thank you so much.
So much. Say we went into this show when we decided to start doing this crazy nonsense with that exact expectation and hope
Right.
that it would find its audience of wonderful weirdos out there like us that just think this stuff is interesting to talk about. So thank you
For sure.
so much. We're glad we found you. We're glad you found us, however it happened. And thanks for letting us know that you enjoy it. That's really cool.
That is incredible. And if you want Josh to read more of your reviews like a snake, please give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. And if you mention specifically
and in the review,
if you mention something about Josh reading it like a snake,
Reading it
like
like a
then he
snake.
has to.
I'll have
That's
to.
legally
I
binding.
can't
legally
get out of that.
obligated.
Yeah.
Yep. That's how that works.
All right, let's get back to the show. Peace out, Monfrères.
So, Aaron, what was your sort of perspective on the "Son I Loved You" like stage of As Cities Burn, like that phase of the band? Feel free to dig into whatever, like answer that question however you feel is.
Sure. I mean, Colin answered it really well, but yeah, the whole record was basically written like on tour or like right after, of One Misery, which used to be called The Nothing That Kills. That was like the first song we wrote for that record, like a couple months or a month after like I had joined the band. So like I just like straight up moved to Louisiana like 3 weeks after meeting these guys for one weekend. Like I went down to Baton Rouge, hung out, ate some canes. Like we did like a practice to like make sure I wasn't like totally shitty at drums, I guess. And I was super awkward, like kind of just weird. Like I grew up in Georgia and Arkansas and liked good music and had been in bands for a long time. And it actually like toured a little bit, like during the summers, like after I graduated high school and like after my freshman year of college. And so I'd played like around Texas and Missouri and Arkansas and like North Louisiana. So I think they thought that was cool, but like other than that, I was kind of like this dork. I don't know. Like
You had
Colin,
I'll say this.
Can you confirm?
He
Was he a dork?
confirmed. Confirmed.
I just, like-
Here's what
yeah. Everybody in Louisiana was just so much cooler than like the scene in Arkansas. I was like, who are these people? Like everybody was like, they felt like sexual or something. I don't know. It was weird. It was just like everybody was just like weird.
There
and
is a weird sexuality to Louisiana. I can confirm.
It felt like sin down there. I was like, man, these people are up to no good.
A pivotal part of it was Tim, right? So the song Timothy is about a friend we have in common. That's how we got introduced to Aaron. And Tim is unique. Everyone that knows Tim thought he's the coolest dude they've
He's the
ever
epitome
met.
of
So
like
Tim,
cool guy in like 2003.
Cool guy.
Yeah.
So we knew Tim, and Tim's like, dude, I got this drummer. You got to give him a chance. So instant endorsement, right? And then to Aaron, Tim's like, dude, this band's, I've known, it's super unique. They're killing it. Like they're having a great time. You should go audition. So we had this like 2-way endorsement from Tim, which helped a lot. And when you were down that weekend, Tim was there. So we all had a great time together. You were quiet. But like Tim was like your guy, like selling you to us.
Yeah, he
and
was
like
my
that was a
bumper.
big.
Yeah. He was my bumper.
Yeah.
Nice.
He was my champion.
Yeah, he was your,
That's great.
not your EB, your
that.
champion. Yeah.
No, yeah. So yeah, I went down. Tim was my best friend, and me and Tim just both wanted to play music. Like we were trying to kind of do it together, but like we were kind of opportunistic in the idea of like, hey, let's find like our path, like to just being professional musicians. And yeah, he just kind of he had filled in with another band called Rivers, Indiana, in North Louisiana. Some really cool guys. and met at City Spurn, and they were like, "Yeah, this guy's cool as shit." And then he's like, "Hey, I got this drummer friend," and they went for it. But
Boom.
I don't know, like history. The history stuff is I think kind of boring, but the writings. I don't know. Like, I think me and Cody just kind of clicked. Like, I think Cody, for whatever reason, like liked my ideas. And the reason I joined As Cities Burn, really, like, aside from just like when you're that age, you're like 19 years old or whatever. You're like, I want to find some other dudes that want to quit everything and go on the road. And that's really hard. So you got to find dudes that aren't married, don't have like actual careers, like ideally they haven't finished college yet or anything. Like they have no plan. And like when I went down to meet with like Colin and TJ and Cody, Pascal, like they were like, "Hey, we're in. Like we're leaving this town. Like nobody's going back to college in the fall. Like we're out of here." And so that was like enough for me to pull the trigger. But also the demos they had that Tim had brought back, those songs were pretty cool. Like if you listen to some of them, like they have cool parts. They're obviously very early, kind of shitty recordings, but you could obviously hear that Cody was a fucking bona fide genius in the way that he played guitar. I was just okay. I've never heard anybody play guitar like this at this level that we're at, like local bands. Like I really thought, I thought he was special. And then the dudes were cool, and they were like, "Yeah, we want to drop out of college and go on the road." I was like, "Yeah, gotta
done."
Yeah. So, but yeah, me and Cody just kind of clicked like musically from the beginning. We liked a lot of the same types of music. Neither one of us wanted to be as heavy as like Colin or like TJ probably wanted to be at the time. So there was like that kind of alliance. It wasn't like it wasn't adversarial or anything between the kind of two.
But a little push-pull.
Yeah, but we kind of had that alliance. Yeah, and then Colin and TJ like trying to push things heavier. So I don't know, worked out. But
nice.
Yeah, obviously me and Cody
that makes for great art, right? Like having.
I think you guys kind of nailed it. Like y'all were picking up on the fact that there's something going on with me and Cody, which we have a strange relationship. It's not our personal relationship. Like frankly, it's not that great, but like it's like a toxic relationship where like the sex is like killer.
Oh, I get that.
And
I've heard hot.
It's true. Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, and you can't stop coming back. And you get along, and so like me and Cody don't like not get along. Like we've never had like some crazy like fight or like screaming stuff, but it's complicated.
It's like the substance of your relationship is inside the music. Like that is the channel through which y'all connect.
Yes, and if we can get back in the room together and like make music together, like it goes good. Like I feel very confident and cocky enough to say every time we get in a room, it's good. And I feel very confident to say like every time Cody gets in a room with another drummer, like I don't think it's that
good. Hey, you gotta have that person, yeah,
that's true.
Fun fact: I dropped out of college after 8 semesters. I had 1 semester left to get a degree, and I pieced.
Oh, and I love that you admittedly were like, "I'm not an artist," so you dropped out to just be the hype man. Like you're like, what was your personal stake in the band since you're not coming out of this as like, I want to pursue this art kind of thing?
Let's be clear. We turned into a very artsy band, but at the time we were heavy as hell and we put on a hell of a live show, and I was a big part of that. And so I wasn't an artist. I can admit that later, hearing the evolution of the band, because Cody wasn't Cody at that time. We were playing shows in a small town and like playing like the like Ichabod's Aaron, like the local bar that like was like awesome, and everyone would go there, and we would start to sell it out, and they'd be like, "Who are you guys?" And like, and so like I wanted to be in a band bad, and I was willing to learn guitar, play whatever, and I was very big into like the art of the performance and the, like connecting. I love the people too, like much to some people's. I mean, I don't think you ever cared, Aaron, but like I really truly loved going into the audience after a show and like talking to people and like Aaron to be like, is there a back door so I can go get a DVR somewhere?
Just Irish goodbye it.
And I would be like, there's a kid that wants to get prayed with and stuff.
I appreciate that, Colin. I was the kid that every show that I'm like, I got to talk to this band member, and it was like the coolest thing. So people remember that stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love that Colin did it. Every band has a guy that does it, and
Yeah, you need that guy.
I think the best thing is for each person to actually be true to themselves. And Colin did like that, and Colin was down to do it. And I was just like always had the attitude like, I mean, Colin will say, I don't do anything I don't want to do. Like,
Yeah.
Like that goes all the way down to like a drum part. Like I won't play a drum part I don't want to play. Like if I didn't like the drum part, I'd be like, yeah, I'm not going to play that. Like that idea or whatever. And so if I didn't want to go talk to people after a show, like I just didn't give a shit. And Colin always would. And I would see like Cody didn't want to talk to people, but then he would go and then he'd like give out his fucking phone number and stuff. And I'm like, bro, you don't have to take it that far. Like just come backstage with me. Like you don't have to talk to you. He's like, well, I feel like I should. I was like, but I promise you don't have to, especially if it means
You don't
like,
have to.
If you don't want to be in a band because you have to go talk to people, like that's not what we're trying to do here. So
Foreshadowing the beginning of the end there.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, we're jumping way ahead. Once Colin was gone, like all of that type of like, fan connection kind of disappeared. I tried my best, but it was mostly just like trolling on the internet and nobody thought that was funny. I thought it was funny, but yeah, people like Colin more than me.
Great. Well, moving to Come Now Sleep, like Aaron, do you feel like you were locked in with the band, like socially a little more, or like, at the point where if you're talking about you and Cody connecting over the music, right? Like I imagine because obviously Come Now Sleep was such a pivot, right? I'm so curious about like, I get that like Cody was really trying to be an artist and like trying to bring what he thought were the best songs to the table for the next iteration of the band, right? That next phase. But I'm also really curious from each of y'all's perspective, like what did that look like as far as deciding, oh, we're going to be like this ambient, like we're no longer going to be this huge heavy band.
Right.
Because it's just fascinating to me.
I'm also really curious
go ahead,
if
there's
like
so much.
If y'all had conversations about like, should you change the name of the band? Like, I mean,
was like talks with the label where they were.
We tried to change the name, and they
what were some of the
convinced us.
names?
Well, no, we didn't get that far, but like,
okay, you didn't have any like runner-ups. Okay,
yeah, because we were breaking up after Sun Object to Darkest, and we were doing this like tour. We did like Warped Tour. We did like an Under Oath tour that was huge. With like Under Oath and Poison the Well, that was fucking sickest tour like of all time. Actually,
sounds awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. Like every show was just this is like peak like Under Oath at the end of their record cycle for They're Only Chasing Safety. Like they're just just crushing it. 2006, and then
Poison the Well is like the best heavy band, and so having them. So you have Under Oath and whatever you think of them, and then you have Poison the Well, who was like my mecca, and the dudes were cool and they were total and like it was just so freaking awesome. Yeah. And
then we did that in the Warped Tour, and then we had like a farewell tour, and we had said we were breaking up. And the reason we said we were breaking up was because TJ was getting married and his like father-in-law made him feel like shit for still trying to be in a band, like Mississippi shit, whatever. And then like we were all honestly just pretty depressed. Like Tim had like killed himself. Just in that time period after that, like we did this tour with the Bled that was like a cool tour, but it was just the winter and going in like Canada, and the Bled didn't really like us. And I think we were just like kind of depressed and it had been touring so much. No. And so going into that summer, we were like going to break up. But then like that summer was just like the best summer like ever. We were making shit tons of money. Like fans were like our record like had just kind of really done well. We had sold like 40,000 copies. Like our Cornerstone show was like fucking insane, like a nighttime, tooth and nail stage show, like all that type of shit.
Yes.
So then we were like, all right, let's stay together. And even TJ was going to stay with the band. But then TJ was going to leave. Can I fun? Sorry, yeah, I'm blowing through this.
I'm gonna fun fact you. We'll go back on why TJ was going to leave. Fun fact in that process, and so I think it's also Grass is Greener band. TJ was going to leave, like, and we're all like, what are we going to do? Like, our dreams falling apart. Cody really liked the Receiving End of Sirens, and they had asked him to join. So he was going to join the receiving end of Sirens.
Wow.
And then I had...
Because that one dude left, right? Casey or some shit.
Yeah. And we had... And they were killing it. They were like us. Like they were a rocket to the moon at the time. And then I joined O Sleeper. And so, little known fact, I was in O Sleeper for like 2 days. So they called me. They're like, dude, if you're out of Acid Burn, you got to join us.
And then,
hey, Aaron,
go ahead, Colin. You were talking to another band.
Most hated story I will tell ever, and I don't tell it much because it's so ridiculous. Aaron hates this. Manchester Orchestra called me to play. To play.
Oh man,
Colin!
It's a good thing you didn't take it. Nothing really panned out for them. So
here's the thing. Given my skill, I would have been exposed really quickly on that one because I was playing Cody's stuff. Like they'd been like, "All right, sick. Like, what guitar part are you gonna play over this?" I'd be like,
"I don't know."
EFG,
Andy.
Yeah. So, but that was funny. I did have a conversation. I can't even remember. It was like their bassist called me, and I was like, they weren't big at the time. I'm like, this is interesting, but I think I'm going to be an O Sleeper.
They were just getting their record.
Anyways,
like they weren't even a band yet. Really, they were like a little,
yeah.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
And I didn't have anything lined up. Nobody was calling me. Nobody wanted me.
You were trying to commit, Aaron. You were trying to be like bought in.
No, I was like. No, when Atkins Burn was going to break up, I was like, okay, well, yeah, I definitely want to keep playing music. I was trying to like get into Joan Zeta and shit because they were always talking about firing their original drummer.
We talked to them about that. Yeah. He was having a hard time. So
yeah, you know. But so I was like talking to them. I was like, oh, maybe I could go play in Joan Zeta, or I was like, but nobody was. Still to this day, actually, nobody's ever asked me to come be in their band. And I kind of don't, I don't know what I did wrong, but like, usually.
It was all the trolling.
You didn't talk to the kids.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that was it. I'm just saying,
back for your PBR.
The way that you guys talked about the drumming and stuff, like, okay, I was like, all right, somebody gets this. Like, somebody thinks I was good at drums. Nobody ever called me to like
that is wild.
Come be in their band or like
Aaron,
really do anything.
You can be in my band.
Yes,
today.
Be in TJ's band.
It's too late.
You'd be the best drummer in an Acid Burn ripoff band.
Yeah. Let's go. I like the meta layers of that. That'd be really great.
Yeah.
Colin, this is the other story there that Colin hates. Colin did try to make a suggestion when TJ was leaving that I
stand by it still.
All right. Colin goes, TJ was leaving. We were trying to figure out what we were going to do with the band. And Colin was just like, well, I could just be the screamer or like the lead singer would take TJ's spot. Colin says I laughed. I don't think that's true. I don't think I actually laughed.
Oh no.
All right. Well, let's clear the air.
I thought, I thought you were joking in that, and maybe that's why I thought it sounded funny. Not because I didn't think you could do it. I think you could have done it.
I would have loved to see that show, to be honest.
You were the front man before.
That would have been cool.
Totally.
I would have been here for it.
So, Colin, how did you feel about that in that moment? Versus,
so how
do you feel about it now?
Core childhood memories.
Yeah.
I remember saying that and being like, dude, TJ was a good front man, had a scream and sang like he sang. And I was like, I could do that. And like, I know all the kids, I know the bands, like I'll be the front man. That's actually probably what I did best at because I'm clearly not the guitar guy. So I said it and he laughed and it shut it down. Like I never brought it up again.
Oh no.
Which probably was good because if he would have left a window, I would have freaking put a wedge in there and opened it and like figured out a way.
It probably would have been the best thing that ever happened for our careers, actually. So
correct.
Maybe.
I think I could have made us big, but it would have lacked the musical integrity that actually ended up happening. But
well, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
There's a multiverse
way
out there.
Aaron, how do you feel about that?
No, I kind of, in some ways I regret it, like, because I didn't realize, I actually, at the end of the day, like, good music is cool, but like, if we had just kept being kind of a heavier band, like, we would have been way bigger and like bought houses and shit. And you know, like I'd rather do that probably.
I think you guys could have also potentially been like chasing trends to a certain extent. Like
Possibly.
Yeah. Well, no, that's what he's agreeing to that. We would have just chased the money and been gigantic and
like I
loved
think we
every
would have
minute of
been
being
pretty
huge.
good. Like a little
And
bit
that would have been
unique.
sick.
Yeah.
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 Being
We
in a
can be
band is
mocked.
cool, man. Tour
Yes.
buses are cool. Like getting paid money because
Yeah.
you're playing music is cooler than
It's pretty
like
cool.
not.
Yeah,
Right.
that is true.
It's
I
cooler
agree
than
with
being
that.
on a.
I don't know what.
On a podcast talking about
Yeah.
your legacy.
I was literally going to make it's cooler than being on a tour bus and touring and making money is cooler than being 44 living in Sandy, Utah on a nerdy podcast talking about the past.
Yeah.
That's true.
It is for y'all.
That is
but not
true.
for us.
But
yeah.
for us,
Yeah, it's
this
pretty
is
cool
the
for
coolest
us.
fucking moment.
Yes.
That's great to hear.
You guys, at that time, so when like part of that suggestion was we were tooth and nails darling. Like we were the next Under Oath.
Yeah.
Like we had our first record that like gave us credibility, and whatever we were going to put out next, if it was kind of in line with that, like they were going to make us monsters. And so
Push it. Yep.
it was like, well, let's just keep doing what we're doing. And so that was kind of the thought process there. And we just took a different route and ruined the whole thing.
It's funny how much that parallels to the Jonesetta story as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except they never even got any traction basically at all, which is a shame.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
We
For
agree.
sure.
They'll come out with stellar sophomore records that don't get recognized.
Dude,
Mhm.
yeah, Cool to Be Young is like ridiculous.
It's incredible.
So we thought, all right, I just said like I would have rather been like in a big band. The conversations we were having about Come Down Sleep were like, this is going to make us a big band because now we'll be able to tour with Jimmy World, tour with Paramore, tour with like,
Yep.
you know, whoever you can think of that's like indie rock or just like, you know, rock and roll, like, or punk rock or I don't know, whatever, not screaming music.
Yeah, a little more straight ahead, right?
And we thought we were like figuring something out because when we were writing the songs, we were like, holy shit, these songs are like something else, like truly special.
They are.
Yes, thank you. And I can confidently say that. Like I look back and like, God damn, like that record is incredible and like their songs are great.
Yeah.
But we just miscalculated what people actually care about. And like when you just kick the scene to the curb that got you there, like they don't give a shit like how good the music is because that's not the music that they liked. That, you know, some of them did like migrated like half of our fan base over to the new thing, which is why I think we should just change the name if we were going to go do that thing and just start it from scratch. So.
What was the reaction like for y'all for what y'all were hearing whenever like it was coming out? Like, were y'all expecting great things and then you heard like mixed reviews or just bad stuff immediately?
Not like, I mean, just like record sales weren't, you know, great. Like our first record sold like 4,000 first week or something like that. And that one did like 5,000, which is not what you're looking for. You're looking for 20,000. Like, you know, yeah. Like if your first record did 40,000 copies like ours did, you want to come out and sell half the amount of records in that first week for you to be like on your trajectory. So you can start getting the tours and stuff. And so we were kind of like, oh, okay, we're fucked. Like like this, we're just kind of over at this point.
Yeah, Josh, that's a good question though, because when you're writing a record and you're around your people, it's an echo chamber. So I was sure. And the label's not telling you it's shitty. Like you hear later, like the labeled podcast, Aaron, like Brandon Ebel, like listened to it and he's like, I mean, I think it's a good record, but it's like not it's not as good. And so like, what am I going to do with this thing? Like, it's cool. Which
I
had to do with
that.
other records
like
too.
I'm having like a visceral reaction right now because I'm just like I don't usually use this word on the podcast these days, but fuck that. Like I'm sorry, but fuck that. Like not any
TJ
person.
said
I'm
bad
not directing
words
that
on the podcast.
I'm not directing that at a person, but at the general sentiment and the lack of understanding. Because that record rules and like I mean,
he was kind of right, like sales wise.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's right artistically.
No.
Well, but the sales can be affected by like where the label gets behind you or like where the strategy is. But
yes,
no,
absolutely.
he was kind of right. You're 100% right. Like,
no, totally. I fully agree with it as a business,
Yeah.
as a response about the business side of it.
Yeah.
I totally get it. But the business is art. Like the business is about music. And so it's like find a way to pivot and to like redirect that energy, you know? And I get this is my idealistic side coming through. So admittedly, like I understand that is not practically feasible on any level, but I just think the music's so damn good that it's absurd to me that y'all didn't explode with that.
Well, you got to think of all the other
evolution.
factors. We didn't have the right agent for that type of record. We didn't have the right manager for that type of record. We weren't even friends with the right bands to be putting out that type of record. You know what I mean? Like we got an Emery tour, which we love Emery, but like that's not who we need to be touring with to put out that record, right? So it was just everything. Like we didn't know what we were doing. We just weren't prepared to actually like. It probably should have taken more time, but you're just like impatient and you have the same band name. You're like, oh, let's just get it out and do it. But
was there pressure from the label at all as far as a timeline for when you would release it?
Always pressure for a timeline, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially once they spend the money.
I would imagine that's like going to be a major factor too. Like you're talking about, Aaron, like you should have kind of maybe thought through that transition a little more or taken more time, but maybe you didn't have the luxury of more time to approach it differently.
Yeah, pressure from the label, but also like we were in a band. That's what we did. And so there's like you got to get back on the road. We weren't big enough to like not be on the road. We needed to be on the road and like continue the cycle. And that's where it came. I think to take just a quick step back, and I don't want to derail. Like I think the writing process for Come Now Sleep was really interesting. So we went back and got like places to live. I went back to school. I actually finished school. I got engaged, and like so, TJ was out of the band. Pascal was out of the band. We brought in Chris Lott, who was a long time, very good friend of ours. And so I don't know how you feel about the writing process, Aaron, but I actually liked it because like we had places to live. We had set practice times. Like we had a place where we'd go and practice in storage units. We had like a space. We were all like productive in the world, and like there were things going on. And so to me, I felt like less pressure of like, this is the only thing I've got, which maybe I don't think it undermined the record because the record's good, but like it was just a really different, because Son I Loved You was like, this is all I care about. It's all I've got. And like, I will die for this record. Come Now Sleep was a little bit more, we're in a band, there's real life going on. And like, I'm getting married and doing school, and kind of an interesting process there, but also like expectations of a record. And
for sure.
Because we cut the record cycle short for Son I Loved You at Your Darkest. Like we should have been touring on that for like another year, but because we did like this breakup tour and stuff like that, like it kind of like cut it off. Where we would have, if we had just kept touring on Son I Loved You at Your Darkest for like one more year, we would have been on absolutely monster tours, like touring the world with like Under Oath or like whatever they were doing. So.
And I think that when we were writing Come Now Sleep, and Aaron, this is a product of you and Cody working together, I would come to the practice space and we'd hear like, I remember the first time I heard This Is It, I was like, oh, this is the coolest song. This is the coolest song I've ever heard. And then like trying to work through, like there are songs that have like stories. I was talking to my kids about this. I bought my son a car. He just turned 16 and it's got a CD player. And he's not allowed to use this phone in the car, so he has 3 CDs. Son I Loved You, Come Now Sleep, and Hell or High Water. Those are the 3 CDs. And so he's listening to him. He's like, what's your favorite? He's like, what's your favorite song at Cities Burn? I was like, loaded question. But I was like, one of the craziest writing experience for me on bass was learning Tides, or working through Tides, because it's the most freaking complex song, but no one cares about it. It's got a cool chorus, but like that's a song that just like goes under the radar. And he's like, dude, totally. Like I heard that. And so there are like moments of time where it's like, I remember trying to learn Tides and being like, I am not good enough to be in this band. Like I'm never going to learn this, like figure this song out. But like, I thought that process for Come Now Sleep was kind of cool, minus the pressure.
But hey, if you feel that pressure, that means you're in a pretty kick-ass band. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And everyone was still like, the personalities weren't crazy because Pascal wasn't a good fit. So he was gone. So we eased some tension. Chris is like, if you guys have ever talked to him, very lighthearted, fun to be around, almost to a fault. Sometimes he's too fun and too lackadaisical. Is Aaron frozen?
No, I'm here.
He is.
Oh, no.
Okay.
No.
Dude, you were just so stable there.
Locked
so
in.
dialed in, dude.
Yeah, so focused.
He's dialed.
But like, I think Cody was feeling confident, and like a lot of the tension hadn't creeped back in. I thought I thought Come Now Sleep was a cool process. I was very confused on like what the record was going to sound like or how people were going to react. But like, I remember I enjoyed that probably the most. I don't know what you thought, Aaron. Did you hate it? Oh, you had it.
Well, yeah, I had a lot of crazy stuff going on in my life, but I mean, like that record, fucking thick, right? Like, yeah, we just getting together in a storage unit, just like drinking beers and writing. So Cody and Chris lived together in an apartment, and they didn't have jobs or anything. Like Cody didn't get a job when we came home. He just was like, I'm just gonna write music. Like that's gonna be my full-time job, like Ben Gibbard style, like clocking hours. Yeah. And so he would just come to he'd come to like the weekly. It was really just like a weekly, like writing session that we would do for 3 or 4 hours or whatever. And then every once in a while we'd get together for like an impromptu one. But I don't know. We just toured for so long at that point. Like we were all just like kind of locked in and like knew how to play together. I was a lot better at drums at that point. Cody was a lot better at guitar and had a vision for like what he was trying to do with the songs. So I think it kind of came together like easy. And not to say that might sound like, I don't know what that sounds like.
No, but I feel like I hear what you're saying. It was natural.
It was natural. Like Son of Love, Your Darkest, like I said, was written over the course of like 2 years, touring, coming home, like, oh, okay, I have an idea for a song, let's try to write it. Or we're about to go in the studio, like we need to write 3 or 4 songs right now. And then Come Not Sleep was just like more professional. Like, okay, we're a real band. Like we have weekly rehearsal. Like we're gonna show up, we're gonna write. We know we're going to the studio February 4th or whatever it was. Like we had a date. And that's what we're going to do and be ready for. And then we totally weren't ready.
Well, I mean, you never are, right?
Had to write 2 songs from scratch, like the first week in the studio.
Nice.
Which ones were those?
Empire and
oh, cool. That worked out well. Wow. Just the single.
Yeah.
I mean, that came together in like one afternoon. Like Cody kind of had the riff and like we wrote it and
crazy.
Goldman was there, and so we were all like mic'd up and everything, ready to record. And so everybody, was dialed in with headphones and shit. And so that was kind of fun to write that way and like be able to hear everything really good. I can't remember the other song, but I know there were 2 songs that weren't ready to go when we got in the studio and finished.
I know. Interesting part of that was so Timothy is a song that's kind of near and dear to our hearts, and that was a real weird one. So we started. Like we were hashing that out and it was very hard to play through. And so any song that you'd write, like this is it, we probably played 4 million times, like, cause it was fun to play and like, let's fix and let's be good at the song. And then Timothy, we wrote, and we didn't leave anything up in the air, Aaron, but like it'd be like, yeah, we're not going to play that one tonight. Like in practice, like we would skip that one a lot or when we would play it, it would be like at the end and it was always a moment. You can't play that song without like it being like kind of a heavy ending to like, I always thought that was interesting about that song. Like a lot of mixed feelings with like thinking it's a cool song, but also comes with a lot of like heavy undertones.
Yeah.
At what point?
There's a lot of baggage.
Yeah. We talked to Dead Poetic about this of like when a song is about like personal loss, like, and I'm always curious, like at what point in like the songwriting process did that come up where like where's Cody and Chris were just like, hey, here's this riff and y'all learn the riff. And then lyrics came and they're like, oh, it's about this, by the way. Or was that all part of it from the beginning?
I don't remember. I think Cody probably was writing that one. I think Cody started writing that one pretty early on and had the idea for it with the lyrics and stuff. Because the way he wrote the lyrics. So
it was kind of inherently a part of the song.
Yeah. It was like, because if you listen to like the lyrics, they're very like the beginning of the song, it's kind of very kind of just given like almost like a timeline of events of what was happening.
Yeah.
Like it was literal. Yeah.
Like very literal. Yep. Yeah. And so I think those were pretty fresh probably when he like early on in the process. But I don't know. And I think probably we had a conversation at some point and he was like, I'm writing this song about Timothy. Because did that go on the 4-song demo that we did, like in the middle of the writing? I can't remember. We did like a 4-track demo to send to Tooth and Nail just to kind of get some ideas down on paper. And I think like This Is It was on there and Clouds maybe. I can't remember. But no, I don't think that song's like a surprise or something like that. Like, oh, by the way, this song is going to be about this. So,
Okay.
Right.
So you kind of knew it from the beginning. Which is probably the better way to approach it than being like, oh, I love playing this song, and then just get like,
yeah.
This
Well,
is
no, I mean
heavy now.
that whole record was just like, I mean, that dark time lingered for a long time. It was very weird.
Sure.
Like my life was in complete turmoil. Like my friends probably hated me or something. I don't know. There was like girl stuff.
Aaron went pretty lame there for a little bit.
Yeah,
Aaron went pretty lame on us.
Yeah.
Look at you. You
I
came
did.
back, though.
I did come back.
Yeah, he
And
came
that's
back.
what's important.
Full circle. Yeah.
But yeah, it was not a good year. And I'll defend myself like for kind of like understandable reasons, Colin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Had a couple.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with my wife tonight. My wife has like a half brother who's totally lame and sucks, but like this is dark. His mother passed away when he was young, and it's like, well, who's going to be like a shining star when like you have that trauma, and then your dad's an alcoholic, and like you were raised in a rough way. Like it was a hard year.
Right.
Yeah.
Pussy.
Yeah. Loss and grief, like really. I won't even finish my statement.
These are the friends you need. Yep.
I gotcha.
No, it's real. That it fucked up a lot of shit. Like because it put me on my back feet as far as like I didn't care about I cared about the band, but it was just like, oh, there's so much other stuff that's so much bigger than this. And it actually wasn't like because it was my whole life, like that band.
Well, and that's the thing is like that album is dripping with like real lived experience, real loss, real grief, like real heavy, heady thoughts and feelings that connected with a lot of people, whether or not it was the right people going to the right shows or the bands that you were booked to play tours with, you know, like to your point earlier about like kind of feeling like the ugly duckling or just like in misalignment with like what the label was trying to do with you as a band.
Right.
All that aside, like I just want to be at least one person that's saying like that work that y'all like created from like a deep raw place spoke to people.
Yeah.
And it still does, and it has like a staying power and a resonance that really matters and means something. Yeah. I wish it could buy you a house. I'm sorry that it can't, that what I'm telling you can't buy you a house. I wish it could. Yeah. But I do love that I get to at least be one person like actually getting to express that to you guys, because it really does matter.
Yeah. Colin, I want to get into a little bit with you the experience of like leaving the band. Like, you know, I don't want all this to be like too heavy. Right, but
I'll bring it right out of the heaviness. I got you.
A little bit.
I can cure that quick.
I miss you, Tim.
Yeah. So it's funny. Hey, TJ, kind words and well said. But it's funny because that's classic. The As Cities Burn, like complex guitar, fancy drumming, best jazz band in Louisiana, like heavy songs. But like I was sure Empire was like Jimmy Eat World was going to hear it and be like, yeah, let's take these guys on tour. Like, or Dashboard was going to hear it and be like, let's like, so like the optimism of the record was that piece of just like, if people are going to hear this, they're going to be like, oh my gosh, this heavy band just put out one of the best freaking emo pop records ever. And like, get in line, brand new in Manchester Orchestra. We'll come on tour when we have time.
100%.
This is kind of lame. Like the first time I ever met Steven and Christian from Amberlin, and when I was living in Nashville, I met him at Russ Hickman's, like a football party or something like that. And I was like, hey, I'm Aaron. And Russ was like, Aaron was in As Cities Burn. He's like, oh, man. And Steven Christian's like, dude, Empire, I wish I'd written that song. And I was like, well, I didn't write it either. So moved on from that conversation. But I know what you mean, Colin.
Yeah. Kylan, it's funny because my exit's pretty unremarkable. So Come Now Sleep came out like lower sales than expected. And then all that comes with that is you're not getting the tours you had hoped. Attendance at shows is lower. And so there was just like this, Aaron, hopefully I'm not sounding, there's just a decline in the band, like morale. And so I had just gotten married. We were on tour with Emery. Emery was always so fun to tour with. And we had become kind of second row, and there was no light at the end of the tunnel. Like, this is the building block for the next record. We had been touring for a while at this point. And so my wife and I got pregnant, and I was on tour with Emery, and we were making, who knows, $500 a night instead of a couple thousand, and things were just, it was just time. And so I remember I remember the moment on the tour bus. Aaron, I don't know if you did, but we were playing the Showbox in Seattle. Do you remember when I told you guys I was quitting?
Yeah, I remember how I misunderstood what you were saying. I don't know if that's where you're going with that.
Okay, so
he misunderstood how I quit.
For listeners, this is the second time that Aaron has completely misunderstood something that Colin was trying to communicate
from Colin
to the band.
Well, so we were like, at this point, like we just like drank like every day on the road, right? Because Emery drank every day on the road, and like they kind of taught us like how to do that. So like really grateful. And we were sharing a bus with them, so we were just riding with them on the bus.
I'm drinking root beer now.
Yeah.
It's valid.
The hard stuff.
So we were sharing the bus with them, and I remember we were just sitting on the bus drinking, and Colin walked on, and Colin, you know, his disposition, like he'd be the guy to like deliver like bad news or like tell us we gotta go move the van, or like, hey, like whatever. And he walked on and he goes, hey guys, I'm gonna be a father. And I thought he was saying like, then I gotta be the dad right now and tell you guys like you're doing something wrong.
Like band dad, band dad, like let's have a talk, kids.
Yeah. It didn't register me like pregnant. I was like, oh, Colin's about to get on to us about something. I guess we're just all sitting there drinking, and we kind of stared at him.
And so there was no response. I had been waiting to tell them for like weeks, and there's just no response. Everyone's just staring at me. I'm like, no, I'm going to be a dad, and so funny. And I remember just like that, and then I think Cody like kind of sat down and like took it heavy, because I think he was like, oh no, like I think I know what this means. And he sat down, but I was like, yeah, I think it's time for me to exit. But again, Kylan and TJ and Josh, like the band had slowed down, and I knew like if there was going to be another phase of the band, well, actually we were kind of done at that point, Aaron, because we'll talk about this will be kind of the transition. Yeah, the transition to the next record, but we're kind of done. Touring had kind of like lost its when you're touring and you're on the upswing, every night is chaos. It's interesting. It's fun. The numbers are great. When it's on the down, it's like, how bad can it get every night? And every night ends up being a little scary. And so that was I had graduated college at that point. So I did finish school while we were doing Come Now Sleep. My mom was stoked on that, got married. And so we were pregnant. So like, it was clear like my next phase of life was coming. And so I kind of did the thing TJ did when he left after Sunday I Love You. I was like, I'll be here for the band, but like I can't tour full time. But if we want to write, I'll help. You know, we all know my value in writing. But I was like, yeah, if you need me to help write. And so it was a pretty natural and again like simple exit, because we all still the weird thing about leaving a band when the band was kind of done, there was no next step, is we all live by each other. So we all went home and still hung out all the time. Like we're all still best buds.
I mean, we went and made Hell or High Water, but like we kind of just stopped talking about the band. Like it wasn't even like
we became you guys. Like we were just hanging out, dudes hanging out.
Yeah,
right. Like there was friends. I think they call that friends.
There was no like real decision to like break up or something like that. It just kind of like we made Hell or High Water, and then like nobody talked to Cody for a long time or something, and we were like, I think we're not a band anymore. Like or something like that. Like I think this is just over. So,
and then the nature, and I think we'll go into a little bit of this with you, Aaron. Like what happened, because Cody would reach out with ideas, and you want to get something going, but it just kind of fizzled out. And Cody had ideas for Hell or High Water, and they put that together. But did I help practice? Like was I playing? I didn't do anything on Hell or High Water. I didn't even do the writing stuff.
I don't want to be a dick.
Cody did all the bass.
I literally don't think you did a single thing on Hell or High Water, right?
Right. No, we're in agreement. I was just podcast is what messed me up. I was like, did I sit in a practice room and like just play bass for you guys so you could write? No.
Chisholm did that.
I think a funny note on that. Okay. So a funny thing is that the band kind of dissolved. We all just hung out, but that was kind of the nature of the band. I think one of the funniest things about us early on is, even before anyone knew us, we'd go on tour for 30 days, be stuck in a van, which when we lost power windows and it didn't have AC. So we'd be like driving in traffic in Atlanta windows wouldn't go down and there'd be no AC, like wild situation. But we would get home to Louisiana and have like, I don't know. We always tried to be on the road. So we'd have 7 days off, Aaron?
Yeah.
And so we'd like get home and like shower. And then like that same night, we'd like call each other and be like, what are you guys doing? You guys want to hang out? Like we were always together. Like we were,
I love that.
Even off tour, it'd be like, all right, you guys want to go to TJ's mom's house and drink beers on the driveway? And like, it was always, we were always together. It was so funny.
That's the best.
That's
man.
great.
Thick as thieves.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Back to your point, Colin.
Yeah.
I think I remember in the booklet it said that As Seas Burn is, and it has you listed as bass. But then for each song, it has like the individual credits, and I think it has
sure.
the bass.
Cody
so
credited.
yeah. So I think at first I was like, oh, it says Colin's in the band here, but then it's like all the bass parts are Cody.
And we cleared out the Len Clark thing, right?
Oh,
we
can
that
get
out,
to
right?
I do want to ask about this can transition into that though. So was making Hell or High Water, was that like just record contract, third record obligation, or is it something that y'all still like what was it like? Because you can just break up. Was there a reason? Did y'all want to make it, or was it out of obligation?
I think Cody like wanted to be done with the contract. Like, all right, so okay. The way that so Tooth and Nail, you had your recording contract, and then they make you sign a publishing contract at Tooth and Nail. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of shitty, but like it's just something they did. But you would get advances for each record. So like our first record, we got $10,000 publishing advance. We bought a van with it.
Right.
Second record, we got 20 G's. Probably just put that into the band fund. We're like, whatever money. Third record, it was $30,000. Was going to be our publishing advance. So this is outside the recording budget. This is just cash money like that we could just get in our pocket. So we're like, hey, if we just go make another record, like everybody can get like $5,000-$6,000 or whatever. Which at that time was just like a lot of money. Like it's funny, me and Colin are both in sales now. Like that's just like not any amount of money now to us. Sorry, that sounds terrible to say. I'm just like
that does. That's a bad look.
Sorry. No,
it doesn't go as far today as it did back then.
That's what I'm saying. Like with the kids and everything. I'm just $5,000 in 2009 was like, oh, I can live for like 3 years. You know,
for sure.
Because you don't have any obligation. Like I didn't have a bill or anything. I was like, that's just like money for canes and beer for like the next 3 years. So. You're good. But the point being like, exactly. And so that's why we're like, well, we can get some money. And then Cody was like, I want to be done with the contract. I want to fulfill. Cody had this kind of like moral, like, I'm going to fulfill my obligation to the label, even if they haven't really done what we thought they would do for us or something like that, Right. I'm putting words into his mouth. I don't think he might say that specifically, but at one point, he said
true. That's
like,
true.
Okay,
that is true. Like that was a thing. Like he felt like a moral or ethical obligation to do that.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
you'd said it like this though, like, oh, I have a. It wasn't like that. It was just like
anytime anybody in this band is saying what the other person said, it's like marriage fights. We're like my wife doesn't talk like. When I quote my wife, she doesn't talk like that, right?
You give her a voice.
Yeah.
Or a tone. Yeah, you're like, I didn't say it like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, and Cody, like, he still had some gas in the tank and had song ideas and shit. And
also
was like, he's like, all right, let's go in and make another record. But the band was so disjointed. Like Colin was doing his thing. Chris Lott had like gone back to school. He wasn't even touring with us. The last tour we did, he didn't even really do. We had like a fill-in, this kid Kyle from Baton Rouge band, which there's lots of funny stories about that. His one and only tour he ever did in his life was on a tour bus with Emery when he was like 19 years old, and I think it probably ruined his expectations. As far as
I think we destroyed his yeah.
Like he became like he drank so much on that, just like
oh no.
I mean, just like imagine like you're just like a dude who he probably worked at like some job, Starbucks or something, and had a local band. They're like, hey, you want to come on this like real deal tour? We're going to be on a tour bus, and there's unlimited alcohol every night.
Yeah, he's like, of course.
Yeah. So like, how stupid are you going to be? But
yep.
Anyway, man, I'm digressing a lot. Yeah, we wanted to end our contract. So and we wanted to get $30,000. But tooth and nail, they pulled the rug on the $30,000 because it's publishing contracts. They're not really guaranteed. It's just kind of like, if we feel like it. And you can tell them no. If they try to change it, you could be like, well, no, we don't accept the alteration to the contract. And so they would release our publishing back to us for that record. We like ended up taking whatever they offered, which was like 10,000 or something like that. It was a shit show. So,
dang,
wow, man.
In hindsight, we should have told them to go fuck themselves and owned all the publishing for that record because now it gets more plays than any of our records.
Right.
Yep.
On Spotify. We didn't know.
Man.
Dang.
How can you know, right? Like,
what was TJ's situation on that record? Was he in his first marriage still?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just trying to remember why he popped back in.
For 84 Sheepdog? Just as like a cameo.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if there's something more behind that.
No.
Yeah. So all of that.
I remember we went up for a writing session. Sorry to interrupt you, Josh. We went up. So Cody was in Cleveland, Tennessee, writing. It's funny. What's his name got? Whatever. And we all just went up to the studio for a weekend, and it was utter chaos because he's like, yeah, come up, listen to what I'm writing and doing this. And we all went up, and it was just chaos. It was just a chance for the band to get together and like have beers. And I remember just like, I think he was hoping it would be productive. And it was just like, how much, well, just to follow Aaron's theme, like how much canes and beer can we consume in 72 hours?
Party.
So I remember going to and listening to some of the stuff he was writing, being like, it sucks that I'm out of the band because this is like very, very cool stuff. Speaking of the 84 Sheepdog specifically. So.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that record.
Sorry, Josh.
Great.
Well, I wanted to kind of use it as a transition for Aaron to kind of tell us like the meaning behind what you sent us on the meaning behind the artwork.
Yes.
But I would love to hear it from you here.
Yeah,
because we didn't know and we glossed over it in our miniseries. So please write that.
It looks
wrong,
sweet,
Aaron.
man. It looks so cool.
I remember y'all were trying to like analyze it, and you're like trying to something. And I was like, oh no, they're totally missing like, and it's not obvious, I guess. Like, and I didn't even know. Cody had to kind of tell me like what it was all about. But yeah, the dude who did that artwork, it was a woodcut, like a woodcut piece of art that got take a picture, turn it digital. But Lynn Clark, who played drums in Color Revolt and Manchester Orchestra after their original drummer left, he's like the best drummer, he's ever. He's so hot too. Like he's just like the hottest.
He's so hot, dude.
Colin, I hung out with him. In Jimmy in New York, a few years ago when we were on tour with Silverstein. And still just like the best dudes, right? Color Revolt, Jimmy and Lynn. So Lynn, if you see him, do y'all know who this guy is? Like, are y'all Color Revolt people? Like it?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't know that they're the best band? Like they're
the best
last
band.
20 years?
Oh,
like that's not something you don't know that to be fact. Okay.
My wife knows.
That's why my comment was missed. That's why my comment was missed, because when I was like, did you guys pass up the fact that Len Clark did the artwork? Then now this makes sense, because that's me being like, did you know freaking Joe Rogan did the foreword on it or something? It's like,
So Color Revolt,
it was a big deal to us.
This is the thing I always say about Color Revolt. I just go, Color Revolt is the best band.
Yes.
And then the sentence ends, and I say nothing else.
That's it. That's the end.
And we all nod in agreement.
Because we met those guys, like the second show I ever played with That City's Burn, we met them in Biloxi, Mississippi, or Gulfport or something like that. Played with them and Joan Zeta. And they were called, Color Revolt was called something different at that point, Fletcher. But we were like, holy shit, this band is incredible. So they were this kind of Gulf Coast scene. There was like these cool bands that I don't know. I think the trifecta of like As Cities Burn, Joan Zeta, Color Revolt is like, I don't know how you can get much better than that for like that level of band. You know what I mean? Like where we were at. But Lynn was in Color Revolt. All right, last thing on Color Revolt. Sorry.
Welcome to Color Revolt Jams Now.
Color Revolt beget Manchester Orchestra beget Brand New. You do not have Devil and God Rage Inside Me and all that shit without Color Revolt.
Got it.
They were just ripping them off directly.
Okay. All right. All right. Oh, I love this.
This feels good, Aaron. Thank you.
Yeah, go listen. Brand New is just copying Color Revolt, like straight up, and then being like a big band.
Okay.
Because they took them on tour. They took them on tour, and then their band sound changed.
And they're like, "What are you guys doing over there?
Can we just borrow some of that
over here?
There's always that band that has to crawl, you know.
They had the same
before
booking agent.
Another one runs.
Color Revolt was booked by Andrew Ellis. Manchester Orchestra was booked by Andrew Ellis. Brand New was booked by Andrew Ellis.
Okay.
So Color Revolt was an awesome band, and they had the same booking agent, so they were touring with all these bands. Manchester from Atlanta was already like sucking Color Revolt's dick, like as they were even getting going. And so like that's who they wanted to be. And then Andy just was like able to commercialize it. He's a fucking genius too. Like, don't get me wrong. But anyway, that's that line.
Okay. Sweet.
Sorry.
Fucking love.
Man, I can't believe like you guys aren't like. God, I can't believe you aren't turned on to
this. Is very important.
We're ignorant.
Yeah,
Thank you for
teaching us. The Mattresses Underwater band, right?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, but we watched Fletcher, so we were the insane like live band everyone wanted to see, and we played with Fletcher. And I have never been so affected by a show. I was just like, I didn't know this was possible. And this is at a VFW hall in Biloxi or something. And I was like, this is the. And I've seen we had been in the scene for a little bit, and I'd seen all the tooth and nail. I'd seen a bunch of bands, but I was like, this is untouchable.
Yeah.
And that was Fletcher. That was before they matured musically. Yeah.
Like I'd imagine it'd be like seeing Sunny Day Real Estate or something like that whenever they were, whatever. It was like that special, but whatever. They sabotaged their own career. So
don't we all?
They did it even worse than we did. Yeah. So Lynn, the drummer, he did the artwork for the Hell or High Water. And so the artwork for the Hell or High Water is great because it's just dripping with like roasting the establishment that actually paid for the artwork. And so if you look at the artwork, it's like, a little skeleton guy with a cat on his shoulder, like in this little boat that's like sinking. There's all these skeletons around it. And then there's like the Rat King. The Rat King has a crown and it's a tooth. The Rat King is Brandon Ebel. And all the skulls on the water are all the bands of Tooth and Nail past that have whatever, whatever you want to call them, suffered or something. That sounds like lacking perspective, and
it's a wave, right? So like that, I like that imagery of like the wave or the trend or the scene of any given like era or time.
And then it's Cody in the boat with his cat. That's just like he had a cat at that time at the studio, and that is Cody in the boat, just with the guitar hanging on for dear life. Yeah,
for dear death.
And a lot of it just stemmed from like the business stuff that was going on at the time, like where they were like, we felt like we were getting fucked out of like $20,000 and like all that type of stuff, and just things.
Did he explain to him that he wanted that as like a theme?
I don't know what the conversation was like, but they definitely talked a lot. And Lynn just knew a lot about our band and like kind of knew, obviously probably what was going on and probably asked questions about stuff like that. And Lynn was familiar with that Tooth and Nail world. So came up with that concept. But I think it's fucking brilliant. Like, because
it's so good. It's so good.
He did that artwork. The label that he was, or the person he was literally kind of critiquing through that art, paid for the artwork itself. And put it out into like, fucking Best Buy. So
right. Oh yeah, I think that's where I bought it. To be honest.
Yeah. I don't, Colin, when did you like find out that was the thing about that?
When I was today years old.
Today?
Oh. Yeah, I never knew.
Oh my gosh, we've got the exclusive for Colin.
Well, no, like I knew kind of the vibe of it, but like I didn't know it like that explicitly, like described like that. I knew it was like kind of like the regime and like the label stuff, but I didn't know it was like that specifically.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I was also starting to pop babies out. So
Your attention gets a little divided.
Yep. Understandably.
interesting time in the band because just because the DNA, you just start to see, because and I kind of mentioned this, but like Son, I Loved You at Your Darkest, the band was our DNA. It's all we cared about. Passion project, and then Come Now Sleep, everything was getting a little bit more corporate. Like we want to get a little bit more radio. What's the label looking for? What are timelines? And then Hell or High Water is like the band's kind of dissolved. It's in shambles. Not even in a bad way. We just weren't a band. Like Cody started writing, and then Aaron would go collaborate with him. And it's just like things were just we at that point we weren't a real band. And they outside of Scream Through the Walls for a moment in time, like they got it back together to tour a little bit and do a record, but like the band was like it was done. But there was like every once in a while there was enough of a pulse to like get it back to life for a minute. But like the full time touring, we're all bought in, like died somewhere in the Come Now Sleep cycle. And it is wild that Hell or High Water, this is like the As Cities Burn thing, like ended up being such a insanely good record. Like Cody was able to just like toss stuff out there and like it was brilliant. It's like,
yes,
given the story that you just heard, that like no one was really collaborating. I was out, like people were out, like we were moving on back to school and all this, and that record came out of that is wild. Like, and that's when I listen back to it, because you guys are able, because you're outside looking in, to do like a top 5 records. It's impossible. It's impossible for me, Aaron, because they each have like Son, I Loved You, like is one of the coolest things I've ever been a part of. Come Now Sleep, like it is what it is. Like it's just such a cool record. And then I thought Hell or High Water was like a punch, like what a cool like way to like end that era. And so they're all so uniquely captured in like the time period for me, that like if we were the same band touring the whole time, like I could probably pick a favorite record, but they were all have this unique personal timestamp that I is unavoidable for me.
And it's wild too to think about it, because like I'm sure for y'all, like having the very like personal and internal awareness of how all these records came to be, like especially Hell or High Water, it probably was pretty wild to hear the whole thing done at the end and be like, wait, this was a record made by a band that was kind of fading out of existence, and
right,
like a very like a literal skeleton crew of people with Cody at the center. I never would have known that. Like as a listener from the outside in, I would have been like, well, I don't really know why they're not touring anymore, but maybe they're just kind of like taking a break or whatever from the live circuit, but they're focusing more on like studio projects. Because listening to that record, I never would have guessed that it wasn't like a full
a fully formed project,
like a band.
I think Hell or High Water more than anything is like the most proof of Cody's like legitimate genius.
Fully,
because it was like
that's what I was kind of saying.
Yeah, like I mean, I went there, I did my thing, like that we always do. We just got more efficient at that, kind of like me and Cody in the room, like figuring out the drums and like writing songs, like whatever. Mm-hmm. But Cody like locked himself in that studio for months, kind of like to his own detriment, and I mean, kind of ridiculous. Like he didn't actually need that long. Cody's the type, like he needs a strong like personality, like in the room with him, like a producer, like a Goldman or something like that. Or somebody like me or Colin to be like, hey, we can move on. Like we're good. Like we've got this. Because Cody's a perfectionist.
He'll chase the details.
Yeah.
The perfection.
Forever.
Yeah.
For fucking ever, dude. And he almost doesn't know when it's good enough. Or sometimes he didn't even know when it's good. We're like, no, Cody, you're like on the right track there. Like, we're good right there, you know? So yeah, like, but the fact that he was able to pull that record off, given the circumstances, and like, it's weird. I just didn't even think anybody would like that album. I promise.
Oh, but it's so good.
It's so good.
I thought everybody would hate it because we kind of like fucked around and like kept working titles.
But I think that's part of like why it's so good. Is because it feels very refreshingly like raw and real and like Just
Well,
some people
you
in a
hardly
room.
ever get a quote real band making a record under those circumstances where they're like, we're done. Like, our contract's done. We're not even trying to get another record contract. We're not even trying to get another show. Like, it doesn't even matter what happens.
No stakes. Yep.
Exactly. No
So
stakes.
y'all were able to just like mess around and experiment and have some fun.
Yeah. And that's what you get. So it's cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah.
Note to artists out there, like, try to operate with that mentality.
Just
always.
fuck off,
And,
guys. Just
Yeah.
You'll probably get some cool stuff.
Just fuck off. You make some cool stuff.
Just no stakes. No stakes.
Okay.
No stakes.
So I feel like we're coming to close to the end of our conversation. So I do have to tell everybody that I have a game.
Ooh, let's go.
More specifically, I have 3 potential games that we can all play. So what I'm going to do for all of you is I'm going to give you the names of these 3 games. I'm not going to tell you what the actual game is. I'm just going to give you the titles. And then as a group, I'm expecting the 4 of y'all to come to a consensus over which game you want to play.
The fuck is going on?
Don't even worry about
exactly,
it, man.
Aaron.
Okay.
Exactly. Welcome to our
Okay.
podcast.
Okay. I have 3
Kylan
games.
is a trivia guy.
Do
So
we
I
need
am.
to take our shirts off, or like what's going on?
Please.
Well, we'll see.
Please
We'll
do.
see.
If you
Please
feel
do.
so inclined.
That will not affect the game, but please do.
I'm here for the game, man.
Okay. So, I'm going to give you the names of the 3 games, and y'all have to decide which one you want to play. 1, As Chitties Burn. 2, Stream Through the Walls. 3, Son, I Loved You at Your Fartest.
My vote is as Chitties Burn, but I can also be swayed.
That's the one I can predict the least.
Yeah, I don't know. I can
Listen. I'm going to tell you now. You have no idea where any of these are going to go.
Okay. As Shitty Sperm, I like it because we used to change our name around all the time. As Titty Sperm, as Titties Burn. What were some other good ones?
As CDs burn.
As Titties Sperm. As Titties
all
Sperm.
All the
the
Louisiana kids. As CDs burn. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. I'm down with that one.
So we're leaning towards As Chitties Burn.
Chitties or chitties?
It's like
Chitties.
a chitty bang bang.
Yes,
These
exactly.
Christians don't say titties, man.
Right.
I'm kidding.
No, it's just Kylan builds his games around the most bananas concepts.
Yes.
So, like, there's no telling what this is going to be.
I'm so sorry. I'm fully apologizing to both of y'all because this has been a incredibly enlightening, salient conversation, and I'm gonna turn it into like a morning zoo show for just a second.
Christ. Okay. All right.
Did you guys ever listen to Goldmine or Prince of Planet Earth?
No.
Yeah. No, we did. We covered
I know.
it.
Anyways,
Oh yes.
let's do As.
Yes, we did.
Okay, I missed that. As Chitties burn.
On the
Let's
Hot
go.
Boy episode.
Oh, sorry. Can I say? I was so fucking
Please.
flattered that y'all did a Hot Boy episode.
Oh.
I
was
want to
like-
talk more.
Oh,
about
wait.
that.
I was
Okay.
like, that's so awesome.
course.
I was like,
Before my
this is so
game,
awesome that they're doing a Hot
I
Boy
have
episode.
to give it over to Josh Olson.
How could we
to
not?
talk about Hawkboy for just a second?
Boring.
Also, you weren't
All
in
right.
on it, Colin. Well, yeah, we were the ones. I don't know if you remember this. I guess it was last year because I found Chris Garman and reached out to him because he's the one running Regenerate or whatever, and then ended up putting all of us in a group chat or something about that. But I was curious, why? Do you know why they're not on streaming?
No, not really. I mean, I don't know who actually owns the masters or where those would even be.
Really?
I think Chris has them. It sounded like he has them. He was just waiting on y'all to give the go ahead for
I
it or
said
something.
he texted me or whatever, email. I don't know. I told him, of course. Why would we care?
Yeah.
I don't
All right,
okay.
so Chris, if you're
All right.
listening, get it out there.
Well, just reach out to him, Aaron. It'll be fine. But yeah, okay. I mean, we couldn't do a As Cities Burn miniseries without doing a little Hawkboy offshoot.
No, it was very cool. It
course,
was
we had
very
to.
cool because I thought Hawkboy was a very cool project.
It was
very
rad,
cool.
man. It was exactly the transition that I kind of wanted the like Cody's style of writing and y'all's sound to go in.
Yeah.
Like it's as if you were inside my head and you were like, what does TJ think we should sound like next? And you did it. You just did it. It was awesome.
That's cool. I had high hopes for Hawkboy.
Yeah.
I do believe we are the only podcast that has ever covered anything related to Hawkboy.
Yeah, I
Probably.
think that's true.
Based on my research, I think we're the only ones.
I mean, more people probably would if it was more widely available.
If
out
it
there,
was
so.
If you can find it, yeah. It's kind
You guys still talking about 21 Pilots?
Oh,
I thought Hawkboy could have been something like that. I thought Hawkboy could have been a huge band once
Yeah.
we kind of figured out what it was going to be. But the thing you got to understand about Cody, you cannot drag him down that path. You can't get him there. I was like, all right, Cody, this is good. There's two of us. This is a great business model. Like we get paid $500
Right.
to play a show. Like
That's
you
what
get
Scoggins doing right
$250.
now is 68.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, you get $250, I get $250. We sell a t-shirt for $20. Like
Done.
you get 10, I get 10. This is incredible. Like we can make a living being a very small band and play music. And it just didn't take for him.
I was sure that Hawkboy was going to be the thing. And Aaron, you and I talked about it. I was like, dude, this is perfect. You just got the two guys who do all the stuff, and now you can just go do it and make all the money. Like, but it's true. You two, your relationship, you would have to have hired like a touring pastor to like keep you guys from killing each other and keep everyone like.
Yeah.
You would have had to hire me to just mediate.
What
When he
we would
was
have
to a
actually-
manager.
We would have actually
To a
each
pastor.
needed our own managers, like Blink 182 style. Like I have my own manager, and then the band has a manager. Is what
Right.
we would have needed like
Right.
3 managers and an agent, like to figure it all out. Once money comes up, like shit just starts to get weird with Cody.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to
It gets
put it.
weird. Yeah.
Like it just gets weird. Like it gets uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So
I
Yep.
get that.
It
Well,
can get kinda
okay.
strange.
I do have to say, the more that I think about it, the more I'm embarrassed about bringing up any type of game because this game is really embarrassing. So I don't think we're gonna do it.
no.
Well, now that's interesting.
oh.
You finally made the game. You finally made the game sound interesting with that.
You've intrigued the
Is-
guest, Kylan.
Is there one of the
no.
is there one of the games that is better than the other that you think that you're less embarrassed about?
Well, one of them, "Son, I Loved You at Your Fartest," is
Very highbrow.
I'm basically gonna play you clips from As Cities Burn songs, but I replace a lyric with a fart sound, and you guys have to guess what the actual
God.
lyric is.
I would lose that. I don't know any of the lyrics.
You'd be a long shot on that one.
No, I know. That's why I thought it would be fun. This was all an incredibly bad decision on my part, and so I'm trying to walk it back.
No,
And-
just do the
and-
one we picked. Let's just get it over
Okay.
with.
All right.
Speaking of bad decisions, do we need to send authorities to where are there children tied to the wall behind you? Where are
in the
you
murder
in the
basement.
bunker?
It's just me in the murder basement. My wife makes me come down
Okay.
here. It's just me.
Okay.
I think there are some snakes. We did have a bat in here at some point.
Okay.
Where you at? You're in
It's
Dallas?
a little bit rough. No, I'm in Arkansas.
I've got a game right now.
You're in Arkansas.
Let's
Where
all
at?
just make fun of where Kylan is until
This murder
Oh,
basement.
someone says something so funny. No, I'm kidding.
Where you
Go
at
ahead,
in
Colin,
Arkansas?
I'm in Northwest Arkansas.
Northwest
basically-
Arkansas. Okay.
I'm basically in Missouri.
All right. Like Pea Ridge, like up near the what is
Bella
that?
Vista.
Bella Vista. Yeah. Jared Smith, a great real estate agent up that way if you're ever looking to buy some
Well,
property.
you know what? You know who sold me this house? Kevin Keene from The Wedding.
Yeah, I don't know them. But I know who that band is, but I don't know. I don't know those guys.
It didn't hit. Good try, Kylan.
It's a real colorable situation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
It is.
Yeah, right.
Hold on, I
Fine,
know
all
that
right.
band, but let's not put the wedding and colorable like in the same. Come on, guys.
Well, okay.
Sure, they're
here's
nice
the
guys,
thing.
though. Hey, sure, they're nice
Not a
guys.
mistake.
Hey, great dudes. Great dudes,
Great dudes.
man.
Great
Great
dudes.
dudes.
Well,
They're great dudes.
here's the thing.
Good dudes, bad band. Good dudes, bad band.
I don't want to do the game because it's going to just sour this like good vibe we have.
No, it's not. Do it.
Nah.
Okay.
It's gonna turn
All
it
right.
up.
Well, fine.
Edit it out.
All right.
Edit-
well,
edit
fuck
your-
you guys. We're playing as Chitty's Burn. So this is 5 questions, 5 quotes. True or false? Is this quote from the movie Chitty Chitty Bang Bang or not?
What?
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, or not, or it's an As
Or
Burn
not.
song.
No,
Or
it's
not.
just if
Oh,
it's from
okay.
Just
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang or not.
I've never seen this
Okay.
movie.
Well,
You've
good
never
luck.
seen
Question
Chitty
1.
Chitty Bang Bang?
No,
That's
it's
because you're a
got the-
loser. I've seen it 20 times,
It's
literally.
got the Dick Van Dyke. All right, I know him.
Yes, of course. Of course. All right.
Okay.
Here's quote 1.
I'm going to open Chat GPT real quick.
Maybe my children like running wild in the street. Did that ever occur to you? Is that from Chitty Chitty
feels
Bang
like-
Bang or not?
See, okay, that feels like something Dick Van Dyke would say. So
Okay.
just
I
purely
agree. That's
based
in.
on that.
It's in the movie.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm
Yeah,
Okay.
he says it to
Plus-
the girl whenever she
You're
scolded.
creating a game
After
for
she almost ran
people
over
you
her
invited
kids.
on. You're creating a game for people you have on your podcast. You would never start out with an or not. That would be a loser way to start a game. So I'm just going psychological here.
Okay.
It's in
That's
the movie.
good, Colin.
That's a way to
I
handle
like
the game.
that.
I
All
like
right.
that we
Approach.
picked the least As Cities Burn game.
I know. I spent
Yeah.
so much time on Son I Loved You at Your Fartist. So yes, that is definitely from
Why do you have multiple games to choose from?
This is the way Kylan's brain works.
Why not just do the one that you think would be the best? Because frankly,
Yeah, I was going to say, you
Game
could
is
have worked
ridiculous.
hard on one. Yeah, you could have worked hard on one.
we're picking
instead of
quotes from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Yes, listen, I fully agree with all of your criticisms of this, which is why I tried really hard to just shut it down.
I didn't know it
What's-
would be this
Kylan-
bad. I couldn't have
Yeah,
imagined
what's
it
the
would be
third
this
one?
bad.
What's
Well-
the premise of the third one?
Stream
Stream
through the walls. It was
Yeah,
what
is that
basically
one?
like it was like
Children,
Price
this is what
is
happens when you
Right
vape.
rules. I'm just gonna name random ACB songs, and you have to guess how many streams it has on Spotify. I'm sorry.
So you had
Oh,
two.
no.
Hold on, you had 2 games that were
I had 3. I had
Hold on.
3 games.
Oh, hold on.
in
Hey,
total.
hey, hold up.
2 of them were As Cities Burn related, and one of them is just a Dick Van Dyke movie from the 60s,
Quotes from a movie.
It's just
Yep.
Chitty Chitty Bang trivia.
produced by Albert Broccoli, who produced all the
Yes.
James Bond films.
Yes. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Broccoli family and their relationship
Let's
in the James
not.
Bond films.
Hey,
I'm
I
so
can
sorry.
make your game
I'm
better.
sorry.
I can fix your game. This is what I do for a
Colin,
living. I
fix
can
it.
fix your game.
Okay, please.
Okay, so the Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, I don't know why that was like a VCR tape that I had when I was a kid, but I have seen the movie 20
Whoa.
times, but probably not for 35 years. Here's
Okay.
what we'll do. Let's do Stream Through the Walls, but instead of guess how many streams, you give us a number, we'll say higher or lower.
Yes. Okay.
Ooh.
That's
There
kind
you
of
go.
what I was thinking.
Nice one.
But also, just really quick, because I spent so much time on it, let's play a
Oh, no.
clip from Son I Loved You at Your Fartist.
Let's just do all the games.
Oh my god.
I'm so
Oh,
sorry.
my
I really
God.
respect y'all as artists, and I want this.
I like that this is at least on brand with ACB trivia, you know?
That's
It's
true.
the machine, right, Kylan? It's the
It's
machine.
the machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that one.
Okay. Okay.
I actually I appreciate the production of this quiz right
Okay.
here.
Yeah.
You
High
all get a
production value.
point.
No logic. High production.
I'm so sorry.
Please
I'm-
tell me you have
this
one of
is
these.
good.
Hey, hold on. Please tell me you have one of these for the widow. Please tell me you have one for the widow.
I
Yes.
don't have the widow. I didn't have
Or
enough time.
Timothy.
Or
Replace
Timothy.
Timothy's name
No,
with
no,
just a
I
fart.
didn't do
Oh, you
yeah.
can't touch Timothy.
I do have it.
We would not be so bold.
Hey, wait, do you know the answer to that one, Aaron?
Yeah, what was the
Yeah,
second one?
after all, they've earned it.
After all, we want them to know.
The
We
well,
want them to
all
guess.
right. Was it the well? Was that
Did
where
you guess it? Earned it, right?
Yeah.
It is earned it.
Oh, after all, they earned it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, everybody.
Spaces.
Spaces.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
All right. This is
Made
the
Too
last one.
Pretty's a banger, though.
it is.
Yes.
I won't know this one.
Alone in my
I'm so
own head.
sorry.
In my head.
No, that's right. Everyone wins.
Hey, Colin.
End of the game.
Colin, just
Hey.
don't ever start with a chitty chitty bang bang. This is actually interesting to me. Chitty chitty bang bang just set it was just left field. This game's great. Fart
I know,
is a little left,
I know.
also off brand, or I guess on brand. Yeah, you're
I
good.
know.
You're good on this one.
I'm
like it.
so sorry. I
You
am.
And what is that? Is that the dad? Is that the grandpa from Willy Wonka in that as well?
I think
In
so.
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang? Oh my
Yes.
No, we
Okay.
probably, yeah, I
We
think
sent
it was-
Aaron on a tangent.
Yeah,
He's
he
going
just-
down the
I
IMDb
love.
well.
No, I'm a pop culture movie guy. I've never seen Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Like,
Oh, it's good. Controversial
It's
opinion.
a classic.
It's a good flick.
It is a classic.
Hot
Yep.
take. Great movie.
love Sound of Music. All
I'm
right.
just going to shut up and I'm going to let the other guys finish out the podcast. I'm so sorry. I'm going to hang my head in shame. I did get to play all my fart sound effects and then I am done. Thank you, gentlemen.
And you
Have
put a lot
great
of work
evening.
into those, Kylan. Thank you.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Yeah, we see your effort. We see you.
Yeah, we love you at your fartist, Kylan. We love you.
I'm so sorry.
That's like-
I'm so sorry.
I have a bunch of kids, and that's like when you say like that was terrible, but like I still love you, and you have a place to sleep
Yep.
tonight. Ideally,
That's
not
great,
that
Colin.
wherever you are, but yeah.
I'm going to sleep in the murder basement.
Oh,
After
gosh.
all, you've earned it, Kylan.
You've earned it.
Oh
You've earned it.
gosh.
Okay. All right. Where do we want to go after this? We've covered. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
feel free
Do you
to
wanna
like
fill us
just
in
throw
on
shade
anything,
on
or-
our miniseries. Anything
No.
else that we
Or you
haven't
want to hype
covered
up?
yet?
This is
that-
this is the best drum part I ever played. Was in this
Yeah.
song, or like favorite
Oh,
parts,
wow.
least favorite parts, anything.
anything.
Well, no, I
Yeah.
don't. I mean, yeah, I don't know. That's I don't know. Are those questions? Like, are you asking me?
If you want to keep talking about Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, I'm here for that.
I think we can talk about that some more. This is a weird thing because
There's like a bunch of like random. It's the open mic. It's the open mic time. There's a bunch of random crap. It's funny because I'd be interested to hear Aaron's the favorite band he toured with, but I kind of know them like ranked 1 through 3. I would love to eliminate the top 3 and like on the long tail, like who was your favorite band to tour with outside of Emery, Hawthorne, and is there a third that like we should eliminate? That's a layup,
Probably Jones
or is the third one that? Okay,
Jones back in the day when they were
Yeah.
normal.
Yeah.
So wait, so Colin wants to know. So this is hard because I mean this is such like a big part of our lives. Like me and Colin could sit here and talk
Yeah.
all night about As Cities Burn. There's enough
Yeah.
content there.
Oh yeah.
But
The lore
you know,
exists.
yeah. So Colin, you want to know my top?
I've got another question for you. Sorry to take over the podcast. I've got a good
No, I
one that
love
you guys
that.
might
Please
find
do.
Colin
interesting.
is now interviewing.
for it.
Yeah. All right,
Lunsford.
Colin.
Yeah.
Aaron.
Yeah, Colin. Go ahead with your questions.
Yeah. So Aaron, when you're a public figure like you and your band are,
Sorry.
a lot of people feel like they know who you are. What's like one thing that people would find interesting that they don't know about the band As Cities Burn that you think you could throw out there? What's like one thing that like people might, or something that people might think that like, man, they got this part really wrong?
Oh,
Would
about
you
As
lean
Cities
into
Burn.
that question for a minute and just, yeah.
What's something people get wrong about As Cities Burn? That's a great question. It's a great question for maybe somebody else completely.
We're too close.
Because yeah, I don't know if I ever. Well, okay. The answers I would give to that would be almost way too personal and revealing of like inner band dynamics.
I thought about that too. Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like there's
like the lyrics thing's interesting and like stuff like that. But yeah.
No, yeah. If I was gonna say like my true hot take on that, like I would sound like the biggest fucking dick like ever.
So here's the thing I know about Aaron. I knew that was the case, but I just didn't know if he'd go there. I thought maybe he'd just let it go a couple beers in the podcast.
I don't think I'm there yet. Maybe 20 more years after a couple people are dead.
Okay. Let's ask like 5 more chitty bang bang questions, and then maybe you'll get that.
We'll really get him to where we need to be.
I've been in the Wikipedia. Like I could start to talk a little bit more educated about it. So I got my second monitor over here. That's why it looks like I'm not paying attention.
Wait, you don't have Salesforce open? You're not closing deals and updating your forecast?
To my new job, we actually use HubSpot only, no Salesforce. I've never used it before. Yeah. All right. So I feel like we're dragging this out, and I don't want me and Colin to be the ones that are making you guys stay on here.
I was just
Colin, me and Colin hadn't hung out in a while. Like we're kind of down. Like if y'all need to leave or something, we can.
I like it.
We can.
I have a legit question. Okay. I have a legit question that I think would be a lot of fun that we could end on. We don't have to, but I'll just throw it out there, and it's not like a complicated one or a long-winded answer. What's the most bananas moment each of you have experienced on tour?
No, God. Well, let's say outside of. Let's just put some guardrails on this one. It can't be anything about me, Aaron.
That's fair.
Okay. Because his top 5 are going to be something I did that was stupid.
There's some good ones.
There are some good ones.
All right, so barring something Colin did, most bananas bonkers where you're asking yourself, like, is this actually real? What is happening? This is crazy moment. During a show, on the bus, hanging out with another band, you name it. Whatever.
I mean, I just think about like the times that I like personally just got like way too drunk and you're just like puking in public and stuff like that. Like stuff you just don't typically do just like where you live, you know? Like puking on sidewalks outside of bars, sleeping in bathrooms like on the toilet and stuff like that. Like those are in Milwaukee. That's one that comes to mind for me. Like just figuring out my limits or whatever. But I don't know, bananas, bonkers stuff. Nothing that crazy like ever had. The monotony of what it was just drinking and playing shows in like different cities.
There were no Lime scooters. Uber wasn't a thing, so we like couldn't get around.
Yeah, you couldn't go
so
anywhere.
You were kind of stuck within a radius. Yeah.
Right.
And so we were just, you would get to a green room, figure it out, and then maybe go get food. We were too poor to get like cool food for a lot of the time. And so you just sat around. The cool thing, it's funny because there's also a progression. And Aaron, you're totally going to disagree with me. I'm like an extrovert. So early on tour, you go and you stay with people. You say from stage, hey, we need a place to stay. And then someone from the crowd says, hey, you can crash in my apartment. And you go and hang out with them, do that thing. You have beers, crash, go to the next place. Eventually you graduate to hotels, which are clean and you have your own place. I think insanely boring going from a show to a hotel and then tour bus. But it's funny because I always thought it was fun to circle back to friends and stay with friends again. Like the hotel thing, I just never liked. Like I always thought a hotel was just like, I'm that chaos though. Like I never wanted it to end, which became a problem in my life. Father Hangout, it's my nickname, which is like, I would parlay the whole thing forever. So I loved, that was just like an interesting thing is like, we just didn't do anything but drink and hang out. And like hotel rooms became a bummer because you weren't hanging out with people anymore.
Right.
I think, dude, Aaron, there's a story. I think I can say the band's name because who cares? But Warped Tour, our first experience, we go to Nashville. We get on, I think it was Dwight Yoakam's bus. He was off tour. Yeah. So we shared a bus with I won't say the band's name. It rhymes with Scary Kids, Scaring Kids.
Yeah.
And we get on the bus and it's just none of us had been on a bus before, and it's just instant chaos. It's just like none of us smoked weed. Well, none of us at that time, like we were not pot dudes. Like we drank beers, and so we get on the bus and it's instantly just beers all over. They're smoking weed. Buses going down, like driving down the interstate to catch us up to Warped Tour. Scary Kids, like they're up in the front with the driver. I can say this right. Yeah, who cares?
Yeah.
And they're they're handing our driver bowls, so he's driving a tour bus full of people and just smoking weed. Hour later, the windows are open on the bus. We're like hanging out the windows going down the interstate. It was just like if you took the dumbest 12 people on the planet and just put them on a bus and you were like, try to get arrested. Like, just try to die. And
that's the goal.
Tim from Under Oath wasn't like managing us, but he was like considering that role. And so we pull in the next day to Warped Tour, the worst load in ever. Like, you remember this, like a mile gravel road to get to the backstage, and we had these huge cases. But we pull in and like Under Oath is like right there, and we're talking to him. I was like, yeah, it was crazy on the bus. Like our driver was like smoking weed like half the time. They're like, what? And dude, they told their driver, and our driver off the bus and like took him around and like tore into him. Like, dude, you have all these kids on the bus. No. And then I think, were we on the bus with him for a week or two? But you would just go on that. So we would you'd go on that bus, and Scary Kids, it would just be a full Sodom and Gomorrah takeover. Like, you go on to like grab a new T-shirt and a water, and there'd be like the bottom bunk, like legs hanging out, like of people, and like you'd open the back lounge and like you'd immediately shut it because there was just
I went to get a phone charger like one time, just like railing some girl doggy style, just like what the fuck? And like all this goes back to like just like As Cities Burn. Actually, for everything we were pretty straight and narrow. Like we drank a lot, but that was kind of it.
Yeah.
Like
that made up for all the other crazy stuff.
We would just kind of hang out with the bros. Like, you know, if you're on tour, like trying to get laid, that's like a mission you have to go on all day. You know, like those dudes, like they wake up and they're like, all right, how am I going to get laid today? And then,
it sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah, like, and there was no Tinder or anything back then. Like, I guess now it's probably. I always joke, like, if Tinder were around, like back when we toured, like everybody would just have AIDS. But like, I don't know.
We'd be dead.
I don't know what it's like for bands now, but I would imagine like a lot of the bands we toured with, like, must just absolutely clean up out there now, if they are trying to do that and care. But
possibly,
yeah. It was also like our weird tour stories. A lot of times it was other people doing weird stuff while we were there, like going to a venue and like the drunk guy in New York who got naked and hung from like the awning in front of the building and like got upside down naked, and we're all just standing there like, what is this guy doing? And there's always like chaotic stuff.
Some homeless guy wrote "dickhole bitch" on our trailer one time with like a permanent marker.
We were following the chariot. We were following the chariot on tour, and Josh Scoggin thought it would be funny to lean his butt out of the van and poop on us. And so he tried to poop out of the side of the van onto ours. And it just, of course, it was just poop all over the side of their van. That was a funny one. And, dude, so this is the problem. Once it starts coming back, TJ, it's a can of worms. I remember on the Youngbloods tour, all the bands, we went to Virginia to play. What was that band? I like the Virginia. That band was from there.
Far Less.
Yeah. And we were going to play like a youth group show, but like it was like a youth center, but there was like, dude, all the bands got in there and it just turned into chaos. So no one was drinking. There was no alcohol involved. But I remember TJ like being in tighty whities, coming out from the side with roller skates and like just like chaos, like youth lock-in. But like there was just like a variety of like tourist chaos. It's just chaos.
Yeah.
I remember,
switching out bottles of water for vinegar. Like before a band goes on stage, like
no,
that was a pretty good.
Wait, is that something that happened to you, or
no? We did that to Showbread.
They'd honestly.
Who did you get the worst? Was JG on this tour?
Who? JG?
Ivory. Like who? Who did you really mess with?
Well, they were like, they were shitty like that. they were shitty. Like they had this prank called
Bopping, dude.
And they were just like,
dude,
listen,
bopping.
All right, you had no money.
Yeah, bopping. I know about bopping.
Okay, you had no money, and they just walk up and hit your food out of your hand, and like that was like all your food for the day. Like you'd have a slice of pizza, and they would just hit it out of your hand, and then like stomp on it.
And stomp on it.
Like
the showbread dudes were no mercy. I love showbread. Man. They were always down to like have fun too. Like we'd sleep in a Walmart parking lot and they'd be like, let's get out and throw footballs into shopping carts. So we'd like make up games with them. I love that band. They were awesome.
Yeah. What was there? They had a version of like Horse, the basketball knockout game, you know? They called it something else. And it was like basically nothing was about like athleticism. It was like how weird can you get with your turn, and then like up the ante and up the ante. It was in a tour video. I could see
that they were intense,
but
creative ways to have fun.
It's true. You gotta keep it fresh on tour, right?
Yeah,
I mean, or put vinegar in people's water bottles.
Yeah, that sucks. The like crazy tour story question, that's like a hard one because I have ones I would love to say right now, and like we just can't. And like Colin has one. Colin has one.
Can you conceal the identity of persons involved and tell the story with redacted information?
PJ, we're too close. We've become too close over the past 2 hours.
Understood.
I get it.
Colin, let's just do it. Let's just do it.
Aaron wants to so
like
Aaron's right on the cusp.
Y'all would not believe the amount of stories that we have actually cut from this podcast.
We do have to cut some.
We have to. We have to cut a lot, and we're 100% fine. Like cutting anything.
Just tell us to cut it. You can
just let us know.
Nah, that's fine. Maybe after we stop recording, we'll give you like a peek into two of them.
All right,
okay.
that's fair.
All right.
That's
well,
fair.
This has been Church Names Now. Thank you so much. May all your favorite bands stay together. Peace out, my friends.
No, seriously though, like we really do appreciate you guys just being willing to talk shop and like I don't know, get in the nitty gritty about stuff because like these records are huge for I think as y'all know all of us. There's a reason we chose this band to do a mini series about. It's because we love it.
The one and only.
It's pretty cool. Y'all should do some more of them. Like I don't know if you. Well, I don't know.
What would you like to hear?
Well, I don't know if you would hit like a Jimmy World one. What I would listen to actually.
We could do that for Patreon. Yeah.
If you did like Clarity, Bleed American Futures, like I would like actually listen to it.
Yeah. Josh and I did cover Clarity on our Patreon.
Nice.
Yeah,
but it wasn't like a track by track thing. So maybe that's like the secondary podcast. This one's like Christian music focused.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Cool stuff.
Christian music.
Yeah, y'all do the Christian thing. The Christian thing. I don't know. I don't know who I'd care to listen to that much more. I mean, I guess we're like probably one of the coolest Christian bands, right?
Dude, they're not a Christian podcast. They're Christians in a podcast, dude. Chill out, Aaron.
Oh man. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I think we should actually stop recording. I think that's as good a point as any for us to say from all of us here at the Church Names Now crew. May our favorite bands stay together. Peace out, mon frères.